All right. Fire them up! What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Genre of Your Life podcast, your go-to podcast for all things movies, TV, entertainment, and of course, a podcast that one day, hopes to be shot or filmed in 70 millimeter IMAX. I'm calling it now, Moses. I'm calling it now in the future for us.
Let's get it.
Welcome to episode number 773. I am one of your hosts, Doug Jones. With me as always is my amazing co-host, one of my best friends, is Mr. Hollywood himself, the incredible, amazing, and wonderful. It's Mr. Moses Lawley. What's going on, Moses?
I'm good. I'm here. I'm alive. And, I'm always blessed like usual. And, it's a good day today. I'm glad you guys are with us because we have a good episode today on our hands.
Mm-hmm.
That we're really excited about to share. So, yeah.
Man, you said it, my friend. We have an action-packed double feature review episode for you guys this week. We wish Nick was here, but our man is definitely working overtime a lot this week, so we get it. So we wish him a great rest of his overtime hours. Get some sleep, Nick. Take a little bubble bath like you always do every Thursday. Get your red wine ready for you.
Oh, you're going to call him out.
I'm kidding. This man has already...
Now everybody going to know. Everybody going to know. It's going to be like, dang, is that you? Nah,
This man has routine, man. For a 27-year-old, for our, we're all 27. He's an old man at heart, but we still love him for that. We love you, Nick.
Love you, Nick. Always love you.
And of course, guys, you can find this show on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, or your favorite podcast platform of choice. Like I said, of course, you can see our beautiful faces on our YouTube page with the video element of the show, youtube.com/Midway Avenue Productions. We just reached 712 subs on YouTube, which is really cool. So we're definitely growing. Thanks to you all. You guys seem to be reacting to our video episodes a lot more, which is really, really cool. Glad to see that. But yeah, whether you're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, you name it, review, rate the show, follow us, subscribe. We want to hear from you guys. Again, your feedback means the world to us. All press is good press, whether it's positive, negative, neutral. We want to hear from you guys because we really do value your feedback and input. So again, let us know in the comment section or review section on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. And again, I'm sorry, guys. I know. Help us help you, but help us get to 200 ratings on Apple Podcasts. We really would mean that. I mean, it's an ongoing goal we've had. We get more coverage for all three of us to do more interviews and coverage and screening events like that too. So we are trying to grow this as much as we can. So please don't forget to all of our podcast listeners and YouTube listeners. So we appreciate you, but for our Apple Podcast fans especially, help us get to our goal of 200 ratings on Apple Podcasts. It means the world to us. So thank you for listening, and we are glad you all are here with us this week. But before we do our reviews for this week's episode, I'm not gonna lie to you, Moses. I was kind of hurt the other day because I don't know if you saw this. Fandango had this thing called Sneak Peek Showcase at all theaters nationwide. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, Sneak Peek Showcase. Was it for what was it for? Maybe I'm thinking about something else.
So they made it again. It was again to be fair though, I think the proceeds went to charity, which is really cool. But they marketed it as come see exclusive footage that was only screened at CinemaCon. And I said, cool. They're really cool. So we're both Regal. Hey, by the way, Regal, looking for sponsorship. Us two right here, we're Regal members, so help us out. We have Regal Limited.
It was crazy. I don't want to draw. I actually was supposed to go today, but I had, I completely missed my timeline. I was supposed to go, I think around 4 or something like that, and I completely missed it, and now I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life until the day I die.
Moses, man. We want more from you, man. You are Mr. Regal, man. You are Mr. Hollywood. You are Mr. Unlimited Pass. Mr. Unlimited Pass.
I should be better. I should be better. But I know things are coming up, though. Things are coming up, especially every episode, trailer, to as well. They already showed the They've already showed a Fantastic Four trailer, which is really really cool. They already
Hmm.
showed the Predator trailer too as well that just came out today,
Hmm.
which was really really cool. So there's a few things that kind of trickles in for the next couple months that showed at CinemaCon, which I really really appreciate. It isn't just like something that CinemaCon was able to see, and then us not being able to see it for months. It's kind of trickling in, and that's also getting that kind of like a preview as well, on like social media and also on YouTube too as well. So yeah.
So I'm unfortunately had to report that I did go to it on Tuesday at my Regal, and I was the only one in there in this big theater. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, bro. It,
Mm.
it was no new footage.
See, I damn, see, this is
I,
why I was like, hmm,
I
maybe I don't need to go. Maybe I don't need to go. You know?
I can. So there was two. There was one today. There was one. There was two parts. There was one on Tuesday and one today, both at 6 p.m. local time for everybody. And I'm not gonna lie, everything that I saw at this quote unquote sneak peek showcase, it was things I've seen already 100 times, and I was like, man, y'all didn't show me anything new. Y'all didn't show me anything I haven't seen before. So I was kind of like, I'm not gonna lie. I know it was for charity. I'm glad it was for charity. But I sat there. I was like, I could have stayed home. And I was like, I could have just stayed home. At one point, a couple walked in like after me, right? And then this couple walked in. They go, "Wait, this is trailers," and they left. And they left. And I was like, maybe I should leave too. And I was kind of holding out, bro. I was like, maybe they're gonna show me something kind of like nothing yet, like a sneak peek of like Wicked Part 2 or something. No, they showed me everything I saw already online. Like, and also they showed like
Yeah.
the first trailer of stuff. Like the first trailer for Fantastic Four came out months ago, or the first trailer for Superman came out months ago. So I was kind of like, wait, these are the old trailers.
What?
Yeah,
Nah.
yeah,
See, nah. That's crazy. That's crazy.
bro, bamboozled.
Damn. Hoodwinked.
Who were you
Nah.
thinking I didn't say that yet?
Run amok.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I was like, huh. And then someone on Twitter said, "Oh, watch it be on Thursday. All the new stuff." I haven't checked yet, so I don't know for sure. But what's funny, bro, is that on Letterboxd you could rate the sneak peek showcase on
No,
Letterboxd.
you can't. I would rate it all of it as zero since it's
People
old
were
stuff.
mad. People were mad because they were like, "Wait, we've seen this already before every movie we see. Like, what was the point?" And I sat there and I was kind of like, "Yeah, really, what was the point?" And I was just like, "Huh."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was like, huh.
it's not cool.
So again, I don't know what they showed tonight. I'm assuming it's the same thing, like on rerun again. Again, I do like they went for charity, but also, guys, next time the marketing, don't be misleading. Be more honest next time. Help us help you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn,
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
that was it.
Yeah. Well, hey. Now I don't feel so bad.
No,
You
no,
know,
no. You don't feel bad.
I
Don't
don't feel
feel
so bad
bad.
at all. Now I'm just like, well, shit. You know.
You know what you do is at your apartment, dim the lights, put some trailers on. That's your own sneak peek showcase.
Basically, I'll
Pretty
just do
much.
that. I'll just do that. You know. Yeah, I do watch trailers. I do like watching trailers. So
Yeah. No, dude,
yeah,
it's what it is. So that was
yeah.
disappointing. So again, I'm sorry to report everybody that I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna tell the guys what I saw on Tuesday. I'm gonna be like, yo, like got the inside scoop. I didn't get shit.
I got no inside scoop.
I got nothing, bro. I got
You
just
know.
like, man, y'all thought you go. They were like, yeah, you think? Keep waiting. I said, oh man. I said,
Oh, you
man.
gonna wait? Keep waiting. It's like
Keep.
that, Dwayne the Rock Johnson quote where
Oh, Fast 8.
in Fast Eight, where he's like with the one dude they're in prison, and he goes to Dwayne the Rock Johnson and say, "I've been waiting for this," and the Rock hits him in the fucking head, and it's like, "Keep waiting, bitch." The guy
Yeah.
faints.
That's what I thought of. I think of the same thing.
Man.
I think of the same thing. Because it's funny too, because like the music cuts
Oh
too.
man.
Because the music cuts too. Keep waiting, bitch, and the music fucking resumes. That's good. That's good
Oh
editing on
man.
F. Gary Gray's part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Damn.
Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But
Oh my goodness.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I did the. Are we covering? Did you want to cover Sinners first, or?
Did you see Accountant 2 yet? My bad. Forgive me for asking. Ooh. Oh, oh, you're back. You're back. Ooh. Sorry, folks, having some Wi-Fi connections on my end. Oh, you're back. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. I can
There you
hear
go.
you.
Did you see Accountant 2 yet?
Accountant two? No,
Okay.
no. I'm planning on going to go see it
Cool.
next week.
Let
Yeah.
me let me do this real. I'll run this real quick because I saw it at South by. It comes out tonight. I'll do a quick review because I know we want you and I. I mean, again, this is the appetizer. The main course, of course, is Sinners. Come on. Let's be real now. Why?
No. I've been excited for for Accountant two as well and everything like that. But yes, we are definitely are excited to talk to you guys about Sinners and our reaction to it for sure.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna So before we do Sinners, I'm gonna do a quick review of Accountant 2 because Accountant 2. So I don't know if you guys remember this. So I remember. So the first one wasn't really a big hit. It came out when all three of us were in college, our freshman year of college, and to be honest, it wasn't really a movie that I was looking forward to personally. The first one. The first one was kind of like, oh, like this is cool and all. I mean, the trailers though. I'm not gonna lie. I remember seeing the first trailer. I think it was when BVS came out. I could be wrong. I think it was when BVS came out, and I said, "Huh, I don't know about this one." And then I think I saw Suicide Squad like the week before we started college, and they showed like the Dunkirk trailer before, the Count trailer before, and even I said the Count, and I said, I don't know, it was pretty bad. I said I don't want to see this, whatever. And then ASU the film school had a screening for it for film students. And I remember I went with some people that honestly that we haven't talked to in years from a long time from our freshman year, and I was like, I mean, I'll see it. I mean, I guess, but I was like, I don't really want to see this. This looks kind of boring, kind of dumb, and I don't know about you, bro, but for me, I love being proven wrong about movies and being proven wrong in general. I love it actually. And I remember halfway
Yeah.
through, I said, I better shut the hell up. This movie's great. This movie's awesome. This movie is awesome. And I was sitting there, I said, I love this movie. And I was like, oh my gosh, this movie's great. And I was so like hyped for it. And then the reviews came out. And this is around the time I feel bad for Ben Affleck because he went back to drinking. He had his alcoholism again. He was going through it again because the whole Batman, Justice League fiasco was going on. So he was, going through it. And I feel for him. But then if you remember, like almost every movie that he was doing post BBS was getting trashed on. Like it was getting trashed on. And
Mm.
I think what it was too. I think part of it was that they were kind of like judging him for Batman, and I was like, well, no, you shouldn't be, you'd be judging him just for this movie, not the performance. As you always say too, you go, don't compare this movie to that movie when it's so different. And that was what you say all
Yeah.
the time, and it's so true because you're like, wait a second, like that's not fair. And I think with this movie, the first one, it kind of came with the crosshairs of like the bad BBS press. But again, it wasn't a big hit, but it made money. It made money. It was kind of slow, like quiet, like um, it made over 100 mil, I think, domestic and worldwide, and it was kind of a big hit. And then it came on DVD and Blu-ray. It was a huge hit. I remember like when it came out
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Blu-ray. I remember my cousin came out to visit us in from New York for Christmas a couple years ago. He said, "Hey man, what have you seen recently?" I'm like, "Oh man, I got the Count on Blu-ray." They were like, "I don't want to see that." I'm like, "No, it's really good, really good." And all of them watched it. Go, "This was great." I'm like, "Yeah, I told you guys. Like, this is great. This is awesome." And I was like, "Man, I told you all about this." And then got my parents hooked on the movie, and so I love that first one a lot. Like, I really love the first one, and then it's been almost 10 years since the first one, so you're kind of like, well, what's been going on? And of course, a lot of things have changed since then. Streaming is definitely bigger now than it was 10 years ago. Um, and it's kind of like, oh, well, what's going on? And also, studio changes happened. Different, regimes changed. HBO Max is a thing. Max is a thing now. So when Ben and Matt started their artist equity production company, they have a first look deal with Amazon, with how Air was made, film movies were made. So their first look deal was with Amazon. So then announced like, oh yeah, they're in production now. Amazon had it. And I was like, wow. So WB still has the international rights, but domestic North America, Amazon has it now. So it is an Amazon movie now. So Nick and I saw it at the world premiere at South by last month. And I wish he was here for this, but I'm telling the story anyway. We waited in line. We walked in right opening night. I think it was day 2. Yeah, it was day 2 of the festival. And thanks to our friends at Amazon MGM, I got shout out too. They invited us to the pre-premiere party of the premiere, and that was really cool because they had like barbecue. Again, you can see more footage. Go to our YouTube page or our Instagram page. All the footage is there. And they had barbecue, they had paintball, they had dancing, they had like free swag. They had the Airstream there. It was really cool. And like the cool thing though was that for the pre-premiere party, there was 3 levels of puzzles. So in order to get to the party, you had to go through all 3 puzzles of these kind of like real life puzzles, and it was really cool. You'll see on our footage, Nick was kind of like doing the puzzle on the computer. I was doing this one, whatever, and it was really cool. So I like a theme, and I love the whole kind of like theme of like the party. It was like, yo, puzzles and solving clues, whatever. And it was really cool. But anyway, we're at the premiere in Austin for South by Southwest, and I told Nick, hey, I'm gonna go downstairs look for lower level seats. You go upstairs. So I go downstairs, Nick goes upstairs. I find seats for us. Our friend Seth was there with us too. So it was me, Seth, there waiting for Nick. And Nick says, hey, I'm coming down the stairs. I bumped elbows with somebody. I think it's Matt Damon. I said, really? I mean, he's shooting the Odyssey right now. Like, there's no way. He's probably shooting the Odyssey. And Nick's good with faces. Nick was like, I'm pretty sure it was Matt Damon. I said, all right, I mean, it could be. And then sure enough, we're sitting down, and at the South by Paramount Theater, it's a huge theater, but everyone from cast and crew sit in the middle of the theater. And you see everybody. Bro, Mark Cuban was there randomly. Mark Cuban was sitting with them too. It was so random. And then
so random.
Someone sat next to Ben, and someone said, hey, what's up, Matt? And I'm like, oh, that is Matt. And Nick was, what? That was Matt Damon? And Nick was like so like flabbergasted because he was like, I would have shook his hand, said hi to him, like tell him I'm a big fan. And I was like, bro, you're so good with faces, Nick. You should have known. He goes, bro, I can't believe it was Matt Damon. So Nick and Matt Damon are now best friends, and they pass each other.
Crazy. That's crazy.
They pass each other at the staircase at South by Southwest. But anyway, I digress. Account 2 is here 9 years later. It's getting pretty good reviews for the most part. But again, the Account 2 follows forensic accountant Christian Wolf teams up with his estranged but highly lethal brother to track down mysterious assassins. And like I said, guys, I love the first one, and I'm happy to report this is a worthy sequel. If you like the first one, Moses, you're in for a treat, man. This is a really fun sequel. It's a worthy sequel. It's a ton of fun. I still prefer the first one a bit more. I'm not gonna lie to you. However, but what they did very well in this sequel was that they capitalized on the brotherhood between Christian and Braxton, which I loved. And this one, bro, has a lot more humor into it actually too. It's more yeah.
No, I was gonna say from watching the trailer, even though I haven't seen the film yet. From watching the trailer, it seems more of a like a buddy cop. Like movie, what I mean, like a buddy cop action movie, which I appreciated from the first one, which it being a little bit, grittier and kind of more like, origin focused essentially a little bit. You know what I mean? Establishing like who they are as brothers and establishing their family and their, I guess like, childhood upbringings and all that kind of stuff like that. So. And this one is a little bit more of it's definitely friendlier, I guess.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. From you said, from the yeah, absolutely. And what this one, I think, again, it's really it's cool to see how they everyone came back from Gavin O'Connor, the director, Bill Dubuque, the writer, Cynthia Day Robinson, who played Director Medina in the first one. And there's a lot of new faces in this one. Anna Kendrick's not in this one. Again, in the trailer, not spoiler, it was in the trailer. But really, there's a lot more John Berthnall in this for sure. And I really like that. Like at the first one, you saw a bit of a tease of him. And you still saw him, but like this one, to your point, and I said it earlier, is that they utilize him a lot in this one. And I love the chemistry between Braxton and Chris, played by Ben Affleck and John Berthnall. I do think my only few gripes with it is that I think that in the middle it gets a bit convoluted with the story, and keeping this non-spoiler, keeps a bit convoluted with like, it's not. I think the first one was a bit more clear cut of like like story beats, whatever. This one does introduce a lot more stuff in this, to a point I was like, ooh, I like that, but maybe flesh it out in a third movie or another sequel, because there's some really interesting like backstories of certain characters, certain different directions, and kind of like who's being introduced and who's not, who came back, who didn't come back. And I was like, oh, I like that, but it seemed like they're trying to like accomplish a lot in this movie, to the point where I was like, ooh, maybe just save some of this for another film or make it more coherent at times, because I think it got a little too convoluted a little bit. But what I do think is that they utilize everyone from the first one again. They utilize Cynthia Day Robinson, and all three of them have really good chemistry. Even the character Justine, who again in the first one, guys, sorry, spoiler alert, who was the one kind of in his ear, kind of like giving him like kind of like the clues and directions, whatever. And I'm like, ooh, wow, they utilized really everyone. Jackie Simmons is back in this one too. So it's like, oh, wow, good for everyone coming back together and making a very worthy sequel, because, I think we've seen a lot of action sequels in the past decade or in general, in our whole lifetime, where it's like, oh, man, like the action was cool, but the story was kind of slacking. And I feel like it's really rare to have an action sequel like this that delivers and is worthy seeing in the theaters, of like, wow, this one is pretty damn good. Because I was so nervous, man, because with me, like, I remember seeing Jack Reacher 2 with Tom Cruise, and I love the first Jack Reacher. Number 2 just like broke my heart. I was like, man, what is this shit? I said, what happened? Like, it's not. I'm like, what happened to this movie? I was like, what?
I remember watching Jack Reacher 2. I remember seeing the first one, which was like, I think a couple months ago, and then I seen the second one, literally, I think literally just like a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Part 2, and I could definitely tell there's a huge difference. And I'm like,
huge.
I think the part 2 focuses more on like a grounded element, essentially more of a there's definitely this,
private eye. Private eye, kind of like detective kind of work.
Detective feel, essentially. You know what I mean? And the first one seems a little bit more of an action thriller, of course. And I appreciate it both different ways, but I definitely wish that there was a little bit more action in the second Jack Reacher movie.
Absolutely. And I don't know about you too, but like, I also think about like the Equalizer trilogy. The first one I love so much, and 2 I liked, but I was kind of like, oh, this wasn't why I loved the first one so much. And then when 3 came on board, I was like, oh, heck, we're back. I was like, yes. I was like, this is what I'm talking about. And I was
we're
like,
back.
It was great. And also 3 to me almost rivals how good the first one is. I was like, this is for a third movie, this is really good. And I think you see sometimes in action, you probably know this too, like in action sequels, like the quality goes down a bit. And then like it's action, kind of like the spectacle is pretty good, but then the story kind of goes down. It's rare.
What's crazy? It's crazy. Watching whatchamacallit, Den of Thieves. 2, right? They basically did the same thing. Essentially. The first one was action packed, right? And everything like that. And then the second one, I felt like I was watching a drama movie.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
100%.
There was a lot of exposition that was not needed at all.
Yes.
And I thought, we talked about it too as well. It had like 3 different endings. You know what I mean?
Did it? Oh my god.
I was like, why does it have 3 different endings in this movie? And yeah, it was too expositional. I felt like did it, some parts I was like editing, some sequences
Yeah.
for, Then the Thieves 2. In my mind, I was like, you can literally cut this whole sequence apart and nobody would notice, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. But
Absolutely, I agree. Bro, I felt the exact same way when we reviewed it a couple months ago. I said I felt the exact same way as you. I said there was a ton of exposition, and to that point, actually, you'll see in this movie too when you see it. Text me because The Accountant 2, there were some scenes that just dragged on way too long. Where I was like, "Ooh, guys, like let's." We know it's been almost 10 years, but let's cut some of this fat a little bit. Cut some of this kind of like just prolonged scenes, and you definitely tell there's a few scenes you're kind of just like, oh, it's going on a bit too long. Let's cut it a little bit. And
you mentioned the runtime.
it's like 210, 215.
Mm,
Let me see. I want to
yeah.
say 215. I've seen it twice now. I saw it, and then Fandango had like a screening, like a fan screening for it. Me and my dad went. It's 2.5. Okay, 2.5. It kind of
I
feels
mean,
like
yeah, it's two,
215.
oh, wait, but like I feel like like to your point though, I feel like there are some movies that even though they might not be as long or might just be in the middle, there happens to just kind of feel like it's running a little bit too long.
You feel it. You feel in
Feel
this one a
it,
bit. You feel
feel
you,
it.
you do. And this one, I'm talking to my dad about talking to people at South by about it. They said, "Oh, it was really good, but some of this kind of felt like long." And I said, "Oh yeah, like there's some really cool scenes between both Chris and Braxton, but you do feel the length. You're like, oh, like there's one scene like when someone's introduced in the movie, and you'll see it definitely felt like, wait, why was this scene really had to be 10 minutes long? It is you feel it, and I think you and I see enough movies to know like, ooh, guys, like just maybe trim this or maybe take some of this out or rework it because you definitely feel it, and I think in this movie too, I think both movies have the same amount of action. I will say, which again, I
Yeah.
think I respect that because I think both when you have an action franchise or something like John Wick was Outlier, when John Wick kind of ups the ante every movie, that's hard to do. That's really hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think with this one, the action is pretty much on par with the first one. A bit more stylized. I think this one has a bit more stylized action in this. I'll be honest with you, like it's a bit more like clean cut compared to the first one. But I think there's kind of like Den of Thieves 2 with this one. There was a bit of exposition and kind of a lot of like explaining of like, well, this did da 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 da, or this person did blah 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 blah. And it's like, ooh, we're wasting a lot of screen time because we could be kind of moving forward with the story and the arcs, but you keep going back to this thing of like who this person is, da, 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 and it's like, ooh, guys, let's trim this a little bit. So it's not a point where you're just like, oh my god, like come on, but it's noticeable to a degree of like, ooh, this maybe you should have edited this down a little bit more, make it more clean cut. But
Yeah.
I think it's still I think it's a crowd pleaser. Again, it's a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing how it does at the box office. I think the first one was a sleeper hit and very underrated. But again, people who've seen the first one love it. So I think if you're a fan of the first one, you're gonna love this one. And if you want to see this one, I would definitely recommend watching the first one first before seeing this because you can still enjoy it, but I think you'll appreciate it more by watching the first one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and with that said, I know Gavin O'Connor wanted to do a third one. I'm all for it. They can do two more of these. I'd be like, yo, sign me up. Let's keep them going, boys. Like Accountants
Yeah,
3 with a
just
Z.
make sure it's not like Den of Thieves or
Exactly.
That's a joke. That's a
No, it's true, but it's true. It's true. I don't want to see a third movie where they're like just chilling at like, they're in like Puerto Rico somewhere or Cuba. Like, yeah, we're chilling here. It's like, well, what was the point of you guys being here? Like,
yeah.
make like. I think to your point, Den of Thieves 2
Yeah,
was kind
make
of
it
like
make sense.
right. I think Den of Thieves 2 was like, look, we're always kind of like really kind of like a beautiful locations. I'm like, that's really cool. You
And
should
it
go
was
on
great.
location. But
Yeah.
why are we here? Y'all were in LA last movie. Why the fuck are we here? And it's
Yeah.
like, well, it's like whatever, and it's like okay. So, and with that said, I think Count 2 is a lot of fun. I mean, again, definitely a crowd pleaser. Again, definitely more of a humorous buddy cop kind of movie, kind of like road trip kind of movie. I give the first one like a 9.9, 9.5. I'd give this a solid 8 out of 10. I had a few nitpicks with it, but
Okay.
I definitely had a good time with it. Also, I think Ben Affleck definitely feels more comfortable in this role this time around than he did in the first one. And you'll see. And you'll see with this one too. But ton of fun. Yeah, solid 8 out of 10. Go check it out.
Yeah.
All,
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Moses, my friend, the time has come. The main course. The movie that you and I have been waiting for, and Nick too, have been waiting for a long time. It is a guy that you and I have bonded over in film school and our life. It is the great Ryan Coogler, one of the most, probably one of the best filmmakers working today, right now, in our lifetime especially. A guy that all three of us have admired and looked up to for so long. A guy that you and I, again, bonding over his movies in college, whether it's from Fruitvale to Black Panther to Creed. His new movie, Sinners, finally came out last week. It's doing so well at the box office. A movie that, again, you and I were just so hyped for since day one. Like, I remember like talking about it. We're like, "Yo, man, Ryan Coogler's doing a vampire movie." We were texting our group chat. We were like, "What can it be?" Blah blah. Michael B. Jordan's there. We're like, "Oh yeah," and we were just hyped for it. So before we do like a review, so what is about Ryan Coogler you think that like is just so special to, our generation of like films and filmmaking?
I think overall one thing about Ryan Coogler that makes him feel different is that you know um, I feel like he doesn't hide who he is.
Nope.
I feel like he doesn't hide who
I
he is. He
agree.
doesn't basically throw on a mask and tells you it tries to basically put up different sort of like a characteristics
Mm-hmm.
you like character in front of him. Like he knows who he is. He knows the type of movies he want to make and everything like that. He knows that overall he's like humble. He's a very humble human being. I watched an
Very
interview.
humble.
I think yesterday. Him talking about that he's just glad to have a job. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
hearing that kind of sort of like talk and everything from Ryan Coogler, it makes you think like this guy is just humble. He's just humble to be here. And from a director standpoint, he has a very unique vision. He understands cinema in a very unique way, and
Yep.
and the fact that he is trying to always try to tell a story in a very unique way, is amazing. And every single character he does and he has in his movies, even if they're even if they're villains, he does not treat them like they're villains. He
No.
treats them like
Mm-hmm.
they are people who just have different point of views than the protagonist. That's it. That is it. And yeah, man, he is changing the game.
Yep.
He is changing the game overall, and I really really appreciate that. Somebody like me looking up to Ryan Coogler, it's really really amazing. And with both Geminis too as well.
Ah,
Yeah.
now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. Now, oh yeah. That's
Uh,
oh, oh, here we go. Now it makes
uh,
sense. Now I see. Oh, it's all coming together now. Oh, okay. It's we're going full circle. We're going full circle right now.
uh, but
uh,
but no, he's just a great filmmaker, man. You great stories, he's a very story driven, filmmaker, and everything else, comes along, too as well. He knows that stories comes first, and once you have a good story, you can add the
mhm.
other amazing qualities to a movie,
Yes, sir.
as you go on, and that's what made, Black Panther. Black Panther, one so great was it focused on story and everything else came along, too as well with Creed and everything. Story was number one and everything else came along, and that's what makes, him, great and the way he is, and he's very passionate too as well, and like I said, it doesn't have a mask at all,
No,
and yeah, like just by the way he talks, too as well,
he's so Oakland. He's so, and
he's
I
so
love it.
Oakland. You
He's
hear me?
so
He's so
Oakland.
Oakland.
I
Like
love
I
that.
even watched the interview. I think in a Breakfast Club. I think I think I think Charlamagne the God
Oh, I saw
was
that.
he had asked him. He was like, hey man, everything about asking. He's like, I can't, man. It's the way I talk.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that, and I really appreciated it. And be honest, like, hey, this is the way I talk. And I think that's what people like about him is the
Hmm.
way he talks and people and him being cool, very cool. And even watching that, Kodak
It's so
video when
good.
he basically goes through every single aspect ratio and every single format, in the theater that you should basically expect to watch, any movie, or to be more specific, his movie, and all the way to watching movies on a format like IMAX and what you
Yep.
should expect. Even from the audio quality and what you should expect from that, even from
Hmm.
40X.
Hmm.
So him being passionate about that, it just makes you, like root for that dude.
Yep.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's it. I think that's what makes him, a great filmmaker overall.
There, man, bro, you said it perfectly, man. And it's really cool to see a director of our generation, kind of just like someone that I think you and I mean, a lot of us, people who's kind of now have seen him, kind of just like we've seen a master filmmaker now. Really, I was he's because he's still in his prime, but we saw someone really. I think we saw someone just really like elevate. Like he's elevated his style, his storytelling. But to your point too, the beauty thing about Ryan Coogler is that it's always story first. Like, and that's really hard for a filmmaker to do in general. But for him to do it now that many times in a row, it's kind of crazy. Like it's kind of absurd to see like whoa, like he's still like could be a huge budget movie, mid budget movie, whatever, indie film, whatever. And I for our in college when we had Professor Mayday, Greg Mayday, mentor of us, um, we had to do a thesis on a short film of like a short important short films. And I really hope one day someone takes golds or as it goes by as their thesis for my short films. And I was like, "What's one?" And I was like, "Oh man, I remember watching this short film, and it was Locks. It was his first short film at USC because we know Ryan Coogler went from playing football from the Bay Area playing football and then went to USC because his professor in college said, "Hey, you're a good writer. You do screenwriting." And then he went to USC film school, met all of his collaborators, Ludwig Göransson,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everybody. And
yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna do Locks. And this was like around when Black Panther was coming out. I said, "Oh yeah, I've been watching this guy for a long time," and I was like, "I want to do Locks." And I remember I broke down my thesis of like why I chose Locks. And I remember even Mayday was like, oh, "This is Ryan Coogler's first film." I was like, "Yeah." And you can find the only copy you can find it on YouTube, and it has the USC logo on the side,
Oh,
which is really funny. But
yeah.
even in that story too, it's so personal to him, and it's a beautiful short film. And it reminds me of like again, it reminds me of people who have make good short films, whether it's Ryan Coogler with Linklater, whether it's you, bro. I mean, it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Even with like Nolan with his first, I mean, with this film and is also with his first feature too as
yeah,
well.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and excuse me, absolutely. So I'm right. I did Locks as my senior thesis on short films, and I was just like, oh, it just it was really incredible. It really moved me. Again, humble brag too. Humble brag. Who don't mind? Humble brag. Hope you don't mind. I have this pulled up. It's probably a really bad photo too. Where I had it somewhere. Oh, there it is. There it is. You can see it. There it is. So my dad and I went to back in Chicago. It's like 10 years. Well, 10 years ago. Jesus. 10 years ago. I got tickets to go see a screening of Creed, and the invite said special guest. It's like almost like a month before it came out, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I love Rocky. The trailers look great. I want to see this." And so me and my dad went, and in downtown Chicago, and it was cool because Michael B. Jordan came out, Tessa Thompson came out, and then right there, back. This is like bad iPhone quality too. Sorry guys. And there's Ryan Coogler right there, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's Ryan Coogler. And I remember him just talking about how he pitches to Stallone and how like his his why because him and his dad used to watch Rocky when he was growing up too. Like before we played football, they would watch Rocky together, and I was like, oh, I love that. It's such cool. Like now you're doing a Rocky movie. That's awesome. So I remember this really well too. It was November 2015. Someone in the audience said, hey, Marvel's doing a Black Panther movie. Have you thought about it? And he was like, oh man, that'd be crazy. Who knows? And like a month or two later, on all the news, Ryan Coogler to direct Black Panther.
Man, that's crazy.
And I was like, we just saw him a few months ago. Like, but to your point about the humble, again, I think I have a video of it somewhere. I gotta find the video. I'll put it on our YouTube page. I can find it. It's probably in my archive somewhere. But to your point, he was a very humble guy. He was just saying like this was a
Yeah,
dream project of his, like how he just
yeah.
wanted to shoot this. This meant a lot to his dad, to his family, to like why he loves
I think
Rocky. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna add to it. I think him being humble is what people want to root for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think
No
too as
ego.
well. It's like you really want to root for this guy. It's like you look up to him like as a mentor, as like a as like a somebody had like written down somewhere where you want to root for him as like an uncle or a mentor or a little brother or or dad or or somebody because you see the films that he is producing and putting out there and they're all just story first and you're just like man and they're all great stories too as
Yep.
well and you're just like damn like I want to root for this guy and everything and that's what makes him like really really special overall
Yeah.
but to your
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And I remember sitting there, and I remember because I totally forgot he did Fruit. When I saw it created, I was like, oh, he did Fruitvale. That was his first like major motion picture too. And I remember seeing Fruitvale in high school. I think it was like summer 2013. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it was summer 2013. And I remember the time, when you're a kid, you're like, we hang out with your friends in high school. It's like, oh, go to the movies, and we saw everything that summer. We saw like, The Conjuring, Elysium, like you name it. We saw everything. And we're like, what's this Fruitvale Station? It's from producer Forrest Whitaker and Octavia Spencer. And my friends and I were like, oh, we didn't hear about it. And I remember I asked my mom. My mom was like, oh my god, the story is so heartbreaking. I said, oh, it was a true story. She goes, yeah. And I said, I remember my mom either read about it or heard about it on the news how heartbreaking it was. So my friends and I, we snuck in actually because rated R. We snuck in to see Fruitvale Station, and we snuck in. I remember watching it. I was like, whoa. And it hit me in an emotional core of me and my friends. And it was just like, oh wow. And again, because Oakland, kind of like Chicago, was very diverse. In my friend group, I was the only white boy in my friend group, so it was like, oh wow, like this is like a movie about this generation, but also too, it's very movie about like different. I mean, it could be in Oakland, it could be New York, it could be Chicago. You name it. Anywhere Phoenix, you name it. And I remember sitting there when that movie ended, and like my 10 of my friends and I, we just sat there. We didn't say nothing. We didn't say anything. We sat there, and I was just
yeah
like, wow. And I remember I
yeah
was moved in a way of like, because also this is when I was trying to realize more about independent film and indie filmmaking and new
yeah
filmmakers. And, yeah, that summer we had, Iron Man 3, whatever, cool. But it was like, what about, smaller films like this? I remember that's when my friends and I kind of opened our eyes to like indie filmmaking of like, whoa, this is the importance of telling stories. But also, Oscar was a real person. And I thought what Ryan Coogler did so beautifully was tell this story in a very, to your point, in a really authentic way, that the way he told the story. And this also, I think Michael Jordan coming fresh off of like Chronicle too. There's like Chronicle and a few other things. So he was like, oh,
yeah
who's this guy? Oh yeah, he's in Chronicle. He's a good actor. So kind of before he kind of blew up too. I mean,
yeah
I know he's in The Wire and Hardball, but like this, like he's kind of like he's
yeah
coming like
I
he
think he was
was.
just like debut as like a lead you
Yes,
know
yes,
yeah
yes,
yeah
yes, right there, right
yeah
there.
he is
And
a lead actor
and I was just like, wow. And that to me was just like, whoa. And that was your first movie again. And we're like, I think we were like 15 or 16 when that movie came out. We were like, whoa, like, wow, he did that movie. He was like in his like 20s, whatever. It's like, oh my god, like that's so inspirational, but also just it's a very moving movie. But again, it's a very important movie. Like, also too because it's in the Bay Area. Ryan's from the Bay Area, so it's like you can tell it was a very personal story to him,
yeah
and that's what the beauty to your point about story first, authentic stories too. And then you have again Creed, and you have Creed, you have Black Panther, you have Black Panther Wakanda Forever, now you have Sinners. You're like looking at a guy who really just kind of like has made just really amazing films that are just him. And like no code switching, no like oh like one for me, one for them. It's like he's putting his
yeah
all into every one of his movies, and that's really hard for a filmmaker, in general, but also at his age to have now 5 movies that haven't been
yeah
bad. Haven't been bad. Like it's
Yeah, no,
crazy.
it's crazy. I mean, he's only 38,
That's
39. But
crazy.
you know what I mean? So, that's really, really crazy. That's really, really crazy. And I definitely know that, he has he's going to be putting out more work, and I'm excited for Black Panther 3 whenever that comes out. We already know that Denzel is going to be in it. That's
Oh
even
my god,
crazier.
bro,
The
that's
fact that
crazy.
Denzel was like, yeah, 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 of course. I'll do Black Panther 3. Not because like of anything, because he sees the passion of Ryan Coogler and the fact that Chadwick Boseman took on the helm
Yep.
of Black Panther, and realizing that Denzel was actually a person that actually helped Chadwick Boseman throughout like his him getting into a specific
I remember
college. I
that.
can't
I
put a
remember that.
finger what college it is, but you know, I think I think a part of me, is realizing that he wants to do Black Panther 3 to kind of like give back in a way,
Yep.
essentially, to as well,
I can see that.
not to just not to just Ryan Coogler, but also to Chadwick Boseman,
Yes, sir.
a little bit, in his sort of like legacy playing Black Panther, and yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited, man. Excited, yeah.
That I'm excited. I'm excited with you, man. I remember, to me, Black Panther was one of my top 10 favorite experiences seeing a movie with you because I remember even seeing a movie with my brother, like Peanut Butter Falcon with my brother. I remember seeing that with you, and you're just like, whoa, and it spoke to you especially because it was like a movie that you were hyped for, but also that was around the time I think about how important like seeing yourself on the big screen is, and seeing and I think what I loved about, I think it that was who in that interview was talking about, it was like, oh, seeing yourself in these really important roles, like people who aren't playing like drug addicts, criminals, whatever. And it was just like the importance of like we're in film school too. The importance of like representation is so important in films and movies.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah,
back,
yeah,
I remember watching that with you, and I remember seeing like my brother and I watched Peanut Butter Falcon and seeing him on the big screen. I was just like, see, it's just like that's how beautiful movies can
yeah.
be.
Peanut Butter Falcon was a beautiful
Yeah,
too,
and that
yeah,
was just
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. I
It's
mean, it's
beautiful.
it's yeah, no, 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 yeah, yeah, it really is. Knowing that somebody's out there, creating a movie that specifically speaks for you too as
Yeah,
well, and everything like that. That's for everybody, but speaks to you. Is really really incredible, and everything really beautiful. So, and yeah, 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 yeah.
that Black. I remember, and I think we saw Black Panther like what 4 or 5 times that before Infinity War too. I mean, we saw it like a
Yeah,
couple of
yeah,
times, a
yeah,
couple of
yeah. We'll
times in
see.
theaters. We saw it like a couple of
Yeah,
times.
we saw a couple of times. We had somebody that started raining our parade, but
Oh my
we didn't let it
god,
happen.
bro. Oh my I remember that so well. And you and I were like, all right, man, like we get it, like, because he didn't like the movie at all.
the,
And we were like, hey man, you don't like it. You remember you were like, hey man, you like it, it's fine, but we liked it. And he was trying to tell us why we were wrong, and we were like, you and I were like, you never sitting there, we're like, all right, bro, like for sure, for sure. And he was like, and you were like, and he was like, ain't no Godfather, and you were like, well, yeah, bro, no shit, not no Godfather. Like you were like, yeah, no shit, like why compare this to the Godfather? And I mean,
fairness, the Godfather.
we were like, bro, we were like, okay, man, okay, okay, and I think I remember this too. I remember we saw it again. I remember when remember ASU had a screening for it with Collis, and also it had his editor was there too. Uh, it was remember it was a
Yeah,
virtual screening. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
Collis, the Nate Moore, the producer of Marvel Studios producer, and,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then
And the editor, I
yeah,
forgot his name. I forgot his name.
Michael something. Wait, I'll find it. Michael who edits all Ryan Coogler's movies, like one of his collaborators too. Um, Hold up, I'll find it.
Yeah, it's
Synergy.
Michael P. Shaver.
Yes, 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 yes. And I loved. Did you see the letter he wrote the other day?
Yeah,
Cuckoo's
yeah,
letter, and I love that in the PS, like he thanked his wife and Ludwig, of course, but that I want to thank my editor Michael, and I'm like, that's so cool, man. I love again humbleness,
yeah.
humbleness.
Yeah, humble man, humble bro, humble. Yeah, man. Yeah, humble takes you a long way in understanding, where you come from, and how hard that was, and being where you are now. It's like, damn, I'm really out here. That yeah, yeah,
I love that. And I love that he thanked all his collaborators, and like I love that too. I think you and I definitely embody that too, and as well as Nick, is that we've always liked working with people we can like get along with and trust. And I think that it's so cool to see him have the same editor, same composer, and his wife is his producer. It's like he works with the same people on most of his movies ever since Locks, ever since Fruitvale. And it's just like, yo, man, you haven't switched up once, and you work with the same people in all your projects. I'm like, bro, that's beautiful. That's just a beautiful thing to do. And I get goosebumps. I'm just like, yes, bro, yes.
Yeah, man, it really is. It's me. Yeah, it's just yes,
But
bro. Yes. No, I mean, it's always great. Like working with the people that that you kind of like came up with in college or
mhm.
whatever it is. It's always great. Because those are the people that you can trust and go back to. It's like realizing that Ryan Coogler was only able to afford a writing software just because his
Oh, I love
like
his
girlfriend in
girlfriend at the time. That
the
was
past
nice.
at the time was like, hey,
Yeah.
I'll pay for you, and now he's worth over millions of dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, like you just got to find the people who believe in you overall, and when you do, you hang on to them, and and because you're gonna like help them out along the way. So
I love that, man. Man, we gotta find girls to buy us software, screenwriting software. Final draft, man. Hook it
we
up.
gotta
Final draft. Hook it up.
we gotta we gotta find a shorties to buy his softwares and be
Or buy
our producers
or buy a
or
Regal
whatever.
pass. Oh my god. Man, this is free advertising for you guys, man. Final draft and Regal and IMAX too. Like, come on, guys, help us out.
Oh God.
Oh
Oh
my
God.
god. Oh my gosh. But no, man, I love that you brought that up too. Thank you for reminding me too about that. I love that how like he brought out his producer and his wife, like, and his wife who's a producer, like that she bought him the screenwriting software. And again, it was a good investment because look, it worked out for him pretty well. It was an investment.
She definitely knew, like, oh, this is definitely, I definitely know
Yeah.
he's gonna go places. So here's this software because I know you're gonna make millions in the
Yeah.
future.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
dating profile. What do you want
But
in a woman? Buy me my software. Buy me my final draft software.
I'm gonna find a draft so I can write. But
Oh,
it's great, man. It's great. Just for myself as a filmmaker,
of
just
course.
knowing, that I have people that tell me like you're gonna go places,
Yeah,
you know. Um, and it's always great, man. I'm always appreciative of that. Even though it's hard to kind of like grapple and kind of take in a little bit
I
sometimes,
get you.
but I'm still appreciative because it's like they know that they say that by telling you that you can count on them if you need something or whatever it is.
That part.
And yeah, it's
That
always
part.
nice to hear. It was nice to hear. So, and yeah, are you ready for this
Oh, review. Okay, right, yeah. After
review?
our Ryan Coogler, man, we love you, man. That's it. That's it. We're trying to shout you out, man. That's it. This was our Ryan Coogler fan club,
Love you, man.
fan club meeting. At,
Yeah,
at,
number one. Hey, that's what this
at
whole podcast is for.
Ryan Coogler. This is the Ryan Coogler episode, free of
This is
charge,
the
guys,
Ryan
free of
Coogler episode.
charge. I do want to shout out that if you can see it in IMAX, I want to give you guys a quick thing of like you get one of these really cool film prints while supplies last. Again, not an ad, it's not IMAX, but hey, we love you guys. Just saying, you want to hook us up with sponsorship? We got y'all. But yeah, but if you can definitely but you can definitely go see it at IMAX. You get one of these really cool collectible film strips. So definitely check that out if you can. But yes, my friend, like you said, this is the main event. We're going to be doing a non-spoiler in the front and a spoiler in the back. So I will let you guys know the spoiler warning when you want to like hop off and then like come back to the episode later on. But we will start with our review of Sinners. Let's get into it. And of course, if you don't know Sinners, then what are you doing? What's going on now? Like Sinners is like the movie of the year, guys, right now. Come on now. So, with that said, Sinners is about trying to leave their troubled lives behind. Twin brothers return to the Mississippi hometown to start again only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. All right, Moses, my friend, what are your thoughts, non spoiler at first, of Sinners?
I just have one word. Damn.
I thought you were going to say the future. Sensational.
Sensational. Damn.
Sensational.
But no, man, no. Yeah, yeah. I had to watch it twice.
Yes, you and
You
I both.
know, yeah. I just knew overall that I had to watch this movie twice just to, get a better, like feeling of this movie.
Hmm.
And just to kind of take everything in,
Yeah.
and watching it the second time, I would say it was immersive, man. It was an immersive experience seeing it on IMAX and everything like that, and also seeing it on 70 millimeter too as well. IMAX was an amazing experience, man. And it's a beautifully shot film too as well. It's beautifully scored. There's amazing soundtracks in this movie. Sometimes it feels like a musical, and that's what makes it even great too as well. The fact that it has those elements, and Ludwig overall, man, he really took this movie, with the music to a whole nother level. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
there's moments I felt like I was floating. You know, like I was really, really floating. I was like, "Am I floating? Where am I going? I better be going to heaven." You know what I mean? you know,
You're in movie heaven.
yeah. Maybe, man. Maybe maybe I was, but I knew that it was a very immersive experience, with the music that Sinners, had, and I just know that this guy is about to get nominated again this next year, for best original score, and yeah, man. Overall, when it comes down to the cast, too as well. Michael B. Jordan, and Haley Steinfeld, and let me make sure I get all this name. Even Jack O'Connor was amazing,
Oh, so good.
too as well. Jack, like that guy, you know, he definitely stole the show in some moments because, like, I mean, we all know he's a vampire in this movie,
Yeah.
right, and everything. But there's some moments where his performance is like really, really good that you're like, damn, like I don't, I gotta wait to kind of go over the whole spoiler review and everything like that. But there's moments where I'm just like, maybe the vampire's not too bad. Maybe the vampire's not too bad. Um, but yeah, it was, he did a great job. And Delroy,
Oh
Lindo,
my
he was
god.
amazing.
Delta
I just know
Slim.
that this guy is gonna have, you know, his name is gonna be traveling all the way to the Oscar, for Best Supporting. I
Hmm.
hope for this movie, because he was amazing. He was really, really amazing, overall, and he made me laugh.
So
He
funny.
made me laugh. He definitely made me laugh, for sure. And he definitely had the best comedic moments, for this movie, I would say, and comedic timing, you
Hmm.
know, and yeah, Haley Steinfeld, she, they're overall, I did not know, Ryan Coogler when it came down to like, wordplay, he
Oh my god, bro. There were some things I was like, excuse me?
there's some, I was like, excuse me, excuse me, ma'am, is that coming from you? Is that coming from your mouth? No, okay. Um, you're just like, what? But that it definitely shook me, and I definitely know it shook a lot of people in that theater,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think Haley was trending, a few times on Twitter, based off like some reactions and based off things that she, would say, and But yeah, overall, she was amazing. She had a great performance, and she had that accent down packed too as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
Great job. There was a line that she said that I was like, wow, okay, that was really really impressive. And for me to find out that she had a grandfather too as well that was half black and everything was very. I didn't know that until this movie came out. You
Yeah, same
know,
here.
until this movie came out and
Same here.
everything like that. And and she added that kind of element into the film, which was really, really, really great. I hope that wasn't a spoiler, and I'm so sorry if it was.
Good.
And I don't know. It was. She talked about it in a few
No,
interviews.
you're
She
good.
talked about it.
You're good. No, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
And I don't want to jeopardize your name. Wunmi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She like. I think I think her character was probably the most powerful.
Yep.
In this film. Overall, she had, especially in that scene in particular. I think there was a moment where you know, she had this conversation. She was having this conversation with Michael B, and she felt like she had, she was controlling the whole scene. She was basically
Hmm.
controlling the whole scene and everything, and she really performed, overall, and and yeah, there's some moments, like, at the end of the film that I, almost cried. Yeah, I don't want to be a bitch. No, I'm kidding. No, no,
Hits you in the feels.
no. Overall, it gets feels, but she did a really, really good job. Overall, and even the like even the supporting vampires too as well. I'm forgetting her name, Lola Kirkley. Like, her performance in there too as well was really really great. And I really enjoyed her performance. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's probably hard to like find her a little bit, but yeah, it's the girl in the blue dress. I thought she was really really good, and she knew how to sing. She knew how to sing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know.
She knew how to sing.
I was
I
like,
was
whoa.
like, you can sing. I was like, you can sing, girl. You can sing. um,
Sing them pipes.
let's see. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, man, this the whole cast, from everybody, everybody was amazing, even from Miles, this
Miles
guy,
Catton, man.
Miles, Miles Catman, that guy, this kid can sing, man, this kid can like, he definitely, this was his first acting role,
That's
I
crazy.
think I hear.
That's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. That's
first acting,
crazy.
acting role. Man, he really stole the show. He really stole the show, from my opinion, and everything like that. He really stole the show, especially in this particular scene. I can't exactly, spoil anything just yet, but he really, you know, he really, took the roof down.
Mm.
No pun
Hmm.
intended. Now, I'm kidding.
Ah, I like that. I like that. I like that tease. I like that tease. I'm with
um,
that.
but he definitely stole the show, from his acting performance, and also from his music, too as well. And and yeah, man, yeah. I mean, and I love how how inclusive everything was, and how inclusive the cast was too as well.
Yep.
From I think her name is Li Xiao Li.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want to butcher her name. Um, uh, is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah. The who they were the shop owners, right?
Yeah, they were the shop owners. I think to be more specific, there were the Chinese, shop owners and everything like that. And I love how that whole shop owning aspect of the Chinese immigrants and everything like that
Mm-hmm.
were based off true I guess based like true, not exactly a true story, but based off true sort of like aspect of of that sort of like time and everything like that. Of that community. Owning that shop and everything. So and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And yeah, man, it was great, man. It was a good movie. It was
I know,
it was
bro.
a good
Cloud Nine.
it was a good movie. You're just on cloud nine as you watch it. There are some like hard moments, of course, but overall, man, you're watching it. You don't really take it as a horror movie. You're just watching it as a pure, just great cinema. And last but not least, Michael B. Jordan. You know what I mean? Like I never in my life did I ever thought, oh yeah, Michael B. Jordan. One day this guy is going to be nominated for an Academy Award. Until this movie came out. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy is playing brothers. I was like, okay, let's see how that goes. But the fact that he was to perform these two characters completely differently, and you knew exactly who was who to as
Hmm.
well, not just based on like the costumes or anything like that, but you knew exactly like who was Smoke, and who was Stack.
Hmm.
It's like you knew exactly, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I would say my favorite is definitely, Smoke and everything like that. He's a cool, calm, collective dude, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But he knows how to take care of business if needed. But Stack is definitely more the, more of a person that has, a little bit more charm, of course, and more, charismatic and yeah, Michael B. In time, I definitely know he's going to get nominated for an Academy. And yeah, and you know, yeah, it's a beautiful movie. I want to hear your thoughts, though. Definitely tell
Oh,
me,
bro, I got
tell
you,
the
man.
whole audience, what you think about this movie. Because they're definitely anticipating it.
Man, well, I'm telling, well, you summed up pretty well, and also want to shout out to Michael A. Jordan as well. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I mean, there was a joke. It was like, "Wow, good seeing Michael A. Jordan's acting debut in this." Oh, that's pretty funny. Again, I can't take credit for that joke. I saw that on Twitter. I was like, ah, nah, whatever. I, excuse my language. I fucking love this movie so much. I really do. It reminds me of like why we love movies, why we go to the movies in the first place. And in my
Yeah,
after the reaction with Nick, I said like this is why we go to the movies. This is why original filmmaking is so important. Why we need to support it at all cost. To me,
yeah,
I think this is Ryan Coogler's best movie. Is it my favorite of his? I gotta go with Creed because of what I said earlier in the podcast of like seeing that with my dad, seeing how that the Q&A of it all. Like that to me, again, personal reason, Creed. But I wouldn't be surprised if over time this becomes my favorite movie because of the IMAX cinematography and everything. But I think this is definitely his best movie. I mean, I love the script both in Creed and the first Black Panther, but the script in this is very witty, almost very Tarantino esque at times, where I was like, huh. And watching it, it reminded me of like you can tell that like Coogler's a film, he's a student of the game. He loves, film. He might likes filmmakers, as he did put in his letter. But to me, it was like, oh, he's kind of channeling a little bit of like Brian De Palma in this, or the Coen brothers, or Tarantino and
yeah.
Rodriguez in this. And I said, oh wow, he's kind of just taking what he's learned as a film fan and as a filmmaker and putting it all into one. I said, wow, that's really genius. I think this is like, and also too, this is his first original screenplay. I was like, wow, he's done 4 movies
Yeah.
already, but this is his first original screenplay. And I'd be lying if I said I want to see more original screenplays from him. Again, listen, I'm hyped for Black Panther 3, like we all are, but I'm like, I don't know, man. The taste you've given us, the sample you've given us, I want to see more original film from you because,
Hmm.
man, I was like, it's a good Costco sample, right? And you're like, damn, like, I want more of this. I'm going to buy the entire package or whatever. I'm like, I want more of this. And I was just like, wow. And this shot right here, this opening shot, seeing this scene, if you watch it in digital, it's cool and all, but the film grain of the red and blue in this scene is, oh, bro, I have goosebumps thinking about it right now. Where that opening scene when they pull up, you see both the twins for the first time. I told Nick, I was like, bro, it was fucking great in film. He goes, yes, it does. And I was like, wow, because in the trailers it was all digital. It looked cool, but on the film grain, this opening scene right here is like, whoa. It just pops. It really pops, and it's also Ruth Carter's amazing costume design. But yeah, man, again, keep this not spoiler. I'm sorry. What was her name again? Oh, she was in Loki and.
She was. I think it's the one with Richard. It's Winmy.
Wumi, who plays Annie in this, and I thought her and Miles were the two hearts of the movie. Like, you can definitely tell they were the emotional backbone in this movie, and I like that they had so much depth to them. And but her especially her as Annie, I was like, oh, she's kind of the one kind of seeing everything for what it is, because she knows what we know as audience, and she kind of like telling like she kind of like, oh, we're kind of seeing the movie through her eyes at times of like, oh, she knows. And I'm like, oh, that's really smart how Ryan Coogler kind of used that into his screenplay. And I was like, wow. But also, too, man, Miles Cadden, I think, is going to be a star. His voice is so beautiful. His voice, I was like, man, hearing his music, I said, getting goosebumps. I was like, oh, my God. And to your point, too, it was like, that's your first movie. You could have fooled us. I was like, this is your first performance? I'm like, no way. Like, bro, who you fooling? Like, who you bullshitting? I'm like, absolutely not. But he has a bright future ahead of him as a singer and as a movie star, and I can't wait to see what he does next. But I'm with you, man. I also think this is Michael B. Jordan's best role too. It's hard because we grew up watching him from again Fruitvale to Creed, Chronicle, whatever. But to your point too, I really do think this is going to be his first Oscar nom, because it's so hard to believe that there's only one of him. Like, you could have fooled me. There's two Michael B. Jordans. Like, he's a brother, and it's so seamless. And you're like, wow. And I hate bringing up his name, but he was really good in The Social Network. But Armie Hammer in The Social Network, when I first saw that movie, I was like, wait, it was only one guy. It kind of feels like that because it's so believable.
No, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's funny. I saw like a comment somewhere on social media, somebody out there in the future is going to think that, Michael B. Jordan has a twin.
Yes.
Just like like how they thought, Will Hammer was a twin, just like how people thought Lindsay Lohan's also.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I thought literally Lindsay Lohan had a twin. I thought that was just, like they were just twins, man. There's somebody who's going to be like, wow, like these are twin brothers. Wow. In reality, just one Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. One Mike, one love. No, but you're right. You're right. Imagine being like being the cool, like 13, 14-year-old, like sneaking into this movie right now. You're like, man, like, who are these actors? You mean actor, because there's only one of them, only one of them. But I really thought this movie really showed. Again, I think even Creed and even in him as Killmonger and Black Panther, I thought I saw the most range in him as an actor so far in his career.
Yeah, I want to add to that. I think probably his most, I think he felt very, very adult.
Yes.
He felt very adult. He felt very adult in Creed and everything like that too as well. And I'm not saying he did it, but in this role, he felt like, he felt, he felt like he was playing, a role like Denzel Washington would play.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Devil in the Blue Dress or whatever it is. That's what it felt like a little bit from watching him. And I agree. I was like, wow, like he's really taking on this role as this, adult like figure. Not somebody in his like, late 20s or whatever, but somebody that's getting close to, or even is at his like 40s or whatever. That feels very raw and very, I don't know. Very great, very great. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Doug.
No, please don't. No sorries needed, man. No, I'm glad you added that. You're right. It's definitely It's it definitely the blue dress. Yeah, definitely. It definitely has his most mature role. I think. And to your point, you said it, bro. Spot on, man. It's his most mature and most adult role. And again, you can definitely tell like he's really giving his all in this movie. Yeah, and he always does with his movies, but this one for sure, it was like, no, this is your fifth collaboration with Ryan. This is a period piece. This is an original movie. You're building this character from the ground up. This is your character. You're not making off. You're not again. Creed was a character, obviously a son of Creed, but like this was really his movie, a role that he can really flesh out himself and make it his own, or two of them actually, his two roles out of his own, and it was really genius about that, and I was like, wow. And again, it was flawless, man. I keep thinking like, wow, it's only one Michael B. Jordan. It was just like, whoa. I'm with you, man. I really like. It's funny. I forgot his name when we were watching the movie with Nick. I was like, "Who's that again?" And he goes, "Oh, that's Jack O'Connell." I said, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that is Jack O'Connell." And I'm like, "Wow, I've seen him in a movie in a long time." But you're right. He was a really good villain. And he was a really good villain where I was like, whoa, it wasn't one dimensional. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna drink your blood. It wasn't like Dracula kind of thing. I was like, oh, here we go again. Like, here we go. Like, because I feel like the vampire genre was so like oversaturated for us growing up with like Twilight and like all the remakes and like all these different like vampire movies. It was like, oh my god, like think about it. When we were growing up, there were so many zombie movies or vampire movies. We were like, bro, we fucking get it. Like, okay, like another one.
Yeah.
Another
I was
one.
gonna say one thing about him. He felt, like he had layers, man. He had layers.
Exactly.
There were so much layers to his character. He had a background story,
Mm-hmm.
too as well, and he had reasons to, wanting to do the things he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can be a vampire, right? And want to do bad things, right?
Yep.
You can be that, but this vampire was like, well, no, I just want to see this world that I envision, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna see this vision with me,
Mm-hmm.
too as well,
Mm-hmm.
and that's layers, and also him being Irish too as well, and him kind of understanding a little bit of the idea of being kind of like dismissed a little bit,
Yeah.
too as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I think I might have read somewhere, but Ryan Coogler said he would hit like he would Jack O'Connor's character in this movie was his favorite, or maybe his second favorite or whatever, just because of how much flair he had and everything like that in this movie. And he did an incredible job, man. Incredible job. He's scary. I mean,
He's
he was
really scary. He's
scary.
really
Hard,
scary.
scary as hell. But like the more you get to know about him, the more you're like, damn, he definitely has a lot of layers. He's definitely still scary as hell, but there's a lot of layers. You know what I mean? But there are some moments that I can't spoil that you're just like, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
And to your point, that's how Ryan Coogler writes characters so well. And it's like, again, they're not villains; they're just antagonists. But in their antagonist way, they think they are the protagonist. And it's a really beautiful thing because like it's how layered Killmonger was. Again, up until Thanos, Killmonger was like the best MCU villain. Because it was like, oh yeah, his ways are fucked up and terrible, but it's just like there was layers to Killmonger because you understood where he was coming from of like, his origin, and then with Remick played by Jack O'Connell,
you can kind of see like the similarities a little bit.
That's what I did.
You kind of see, he goes to O'Connor. He's like, nobody's gonna tear down, my people or whatever it is. Nobody's gonna tear down nobody anymore. And then you watch his character and you're like, this guy's kind of also don't want to see anybody being teared down.
No.
Or whatever it is, even though how evil looking he might seem or whatever it is, there's a layer, it wasn't about, like, race or anything like that.
It wasn't. Yeah.
It was just literally about like the idea of, there's a lot where kind of I laughed for some reason. I can't say this for you, but there's a line where I laughed and I'm like, oh, that's what he wants to do. Okay, but yeah.
There's one line where it was like, oh, it's because we're. And
Because
to our audio
it's
listeners,
like,
he rubs his hand, implying his skin color. And the way he does it,
yeah.
it's very comedic because he was like, like, and it was really funny. I was like, oh, it's kind of. I mean, it's funny because it's like it's so like nonchalant, but again, the way he does it is really like, oh, it's kind of funny. But yeah, I'm with you too. I mean, I'm glad you brought up the supporting cast too. The other vampires at first. But again, I really think that everyone brought their A game here. And that to me just like reminds us of like why movies are so important. And when you actually care, you can
Yeah.
you can make magic. And I think you're right. Ludwig score. You're right, man. That's so cool that Ludwig now is working with two of the best filmmakers right now. You're working with both Chris Nolan and Ryan Coogler on these amazing projects. You're like,
Yeah.
whoa.
And they both shoot on IMAX.
both on IMAX. And I remember when we saw Tenet, we were like, oh, it's Ludwig. You're like, oh shit, this is Ludwig. And we are like, oh wow, because we knew him from Black Panther and Creed, of course,
Yeah.
and Mandalorian. But I remember when you and I saw Tenet, we are like, yo, the score in Tenet was like, well, this is game changing. And then sure enough, you hear it with Wakanda Forever, and then you heard it with Oppenheimer, and you're just like, whoa. And
I feel like Oppenheimer for sure,
yes,
like for sure, was probably like the most game changing. Every single time he's always up one himself.
oh, I
But
agree.
like, especially for this too, is the music. Oh man, Jesus,
Music so good. If you have
man.
Spotify, go to the Spotify. There's a really cool curated playlist for that, both the score and soundtrack. It's beautiful. And I've been playing the score on my Alexa because I'm like, oh, never mind. Alexa, never mind. I was kinda, she was like, huh? And I was kind of playing out through my Spotify, and I was like, wow, like the score in this is it's its own character. I think it's the beauty of Ludwig and Ryan's collaboration is that Ryan can give Ludwig his own character with the music. And you're right, even with Oppenheimer and Tenet and Black Panther and Creed, it's like, well, this guy does not miss. And again, these two guys working again, the beauty of collaboration from film school till now and trusting one another and also keep working with each other. And I love their friendship too. Oh, did you know that Ryan officiated Ludwig's wedding?
Really?
Yeah, it was. I love the interviews with him and Ludwig because, like, oh, how do we meet? Oh, we met at a college house party playing pool, whatever. And then they were like talking about like how we used to walk on campus together at night talking about movies. And I'm like, well, me and Moses did that. Well, me and Nick did that. We all did that in college too. It was just like it reminded me of a lot of our upbringing in college and meeting together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan was.
You remember when
Yeah.
remember how we like met and you introduced me? You're like, you're like, I was, you're like, I was like, what's your name? I was like, I'm Doug, and then I was like, my name is Doug.
And I started laughing. I was like, "Oh, he has jokes." So I'm like, "Oh, this guy has jokes." But what's funny though is that I remember this pretty well. It was you and Malone, because I remember like on the floor, someone's like, "Yo, bro, you met Moses yet, man?" I'm like, "No, I haven't met Moses yet." "Oh, you met Moses, man." And I saw you walk down the stairs one time. I'm like, "Oh, it's Moses." I'm like, "Oh, bro, I haven't met him yet." And then I met you when we had that stupid ass 8 a.m. art class for no reason. But it was just like everyone was talking about you. I was like, "Man, I want to meet Moses, bro." Like, and then we met that way, and I was like, "Oh, this guy got jokes, man." But I also knew I was like, "Oh man, he's gonna be a friend for life and someone I call family and a brother who I love." So no, man, I love our origin mute cute story too. It's like it's true, man. When hearing them talk about it, it was just like I get goosebumps. I'm like, oh, it reminds me of like you and me and us, you, me, and Nick together of like just our
Yeah.
love for movies and our love that we met through film school too. And it's like that's kind of like the beauty of it all too. But
Yeah.
nah, man, I love Ludwig's score. Miles Cannon again. Miles and Ludwig together is a very powerful duo as well. And again, to wrap up this non-spoiler part, everyone brings their A game. Even the actress who played I don't want to spoil anything. Who played she was the singer, and she was
Oh
also
my God,
she was the mayor. She was the mayor in Batman.
forgot her. I literally forgot her. Oh man, literally like I think her name in the movie her name is Pearline, but her
Yeah,
name is
Jamie Lawson.
Jamie
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 Lawson,
Jamie Lawson.
who's gorgeous.
She was incredible. She
She's
was incredible. She was
she's
gorgeous.
gorgeous
She was
girl.
gorgeous.
Uh,
Um, yeah, I was falling for Haley and doing that at the same time. No, okay.
Oh. Oh, also, I gotta shout out my man right here, man, who I've been watching my entire life.
Oh man,
Omar Benson Miller, who plays
Omar
Cornbread.
Benson. He was
I
hilarious.
I remember was a kid. I'm growing up. I watched him in 8 Mile. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, he was 8 Mile. And then I watched, he's also in the 50 Cent version of 8 Mile, Get Rich or Die Trying, which is not a very good. Look, I love 50 Cent, but Get Rich or Die Trying is not a good movie. You're kind of like, bro, this is your 8 Mile. Nah, bro.
Yo, remember him in Transformers?
He's a cousin. He's playing Dance Dance Revolution. And then he's also like, cops, and
and then it jumps into the fucking pool.
I'm so glad. I always forget he's in Transformers. He plays the cousin. He plays Anthony Anderson's cousin.
Yeah.
Shut up, Grandma.
I never forget. That's where every single time he comes up and everything like that. That's where I think of him in Transformers and everything because
man.
that scene, that scene was
cops.
Was that.
He's so I can watch that scene like out of context, and it makes me so happy every time I see it because it's like he's so funny in Transformers.
Yeah.
But no, I loved him as Cornbread. I was like, oh, also me, we love Ballers. I mean, Nick and I, we binge Ballers in college, and remember coming seeing you at work. I was binging that show before I was meeting you in college or after work one day. And he's really good. He's really good in Ballers. But I love seeing him in this. I'm like, oh yeah, he's like really good, underappreciated actor. And growing up watching him, I was like, oh man, Omar is such a good actor. So I love seeing him work with Ryan Coogler. And also too, very humble guy. You see him in interviews. He's so funny, very humble.
Very funny. Yeah.
I'll send you an interview with him with one of my favorite reporters, Kevin McCarthy from Fox DC. Not that Kevin McCarthy guy, different Kevin McCarthy. I'll send you a video of him. He's so funny because like it was him, Dillard Lindo paired together, and he was like, "How about music?" And then he goes, "Oh, well, I think about music. The Prophet, 2 Chainz." and Dillard Lindo was like, he's a fool. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. And I'll end on this. Delroy Lindo, man, who I think also just phenomenal actor. Also, if you look at his like filmography too, I mean, Ron Howard, Spike Lee, Ryan Coogler, I think Tony Scott even, like he has just a really just phenomenal filmography. Malcolm X, exactly. I mean, he's worked with some amazing directors. He was in Up. He's I think he's one of the dogs in Up, which is hilarious.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, I think he plays Alpha.
Wow, look at his filmography. It's crazy.
Crazy. Look at this, dude. I mean, look at these movies. I mean, with some big actors and big directors. And I'm with you, man. He's so good in this because he's the comedic relief. He adds a lot of emotion to it as well.
Yeah, he added a lot of emotion. There's scene that you're just like, man, like this guy has. You can tell, like you watch him, and you're like, wow, this guy has been through everything, has been through it all,
so much,
has been through it all, and you can kind of see, why he has like, his certain like problems or whatever that might be, you know what I mean? And yeah, man, yeah, it was super phenomenal. It was really, really phenomenal. I'm excited for him to, he needs his flowers. He does.
He does. I really hope that Michael gets an Oscar leading man for sure. I mean, honestly, he get one for supporting too. I mean, technically, he could do supporting and lead because I think about it. You can definitely make like, Smoke was lead and Stack was supporting. You could, I mean, if you wanted to, you could. But I do think I put him in leading. I would put Delroy and I would put Delroy, Miles, and Jack in supporting. Yeah,
I'll definitely put Delroy in supporting and as well as like Miles. And yeah, if Michael B can like wiggle himself in like best acting, like dude, that would be a game changer for him. You know what I mean?
Think so.
That'll definitely be a game changer for him.
I think it'll also be Ryan's first Oscar nom too. I mean,
if Ryan can get an Oscar nom for best best original, like
Screenplay.
screenplay,
I agree.
that'll be great. That'll be great. That'll
I
literally
agree.
be great. You
I agree.
know,
He should.
yeah,
He deserves it. He deserves it. He he really deserved. He deserved directing for Black Panther, the first Black Panther, and also Creed. But I hope he gets it for this one. So I
yeah,
think this is his
yeah,
time to get it now. Um,
yeah, yeah. Now I'm thinking about Black Panther. I really felt bad for, Angela Bassett. You know what I mean? I was like, damn.
that was random. That was her not winning. I was like, 'cause it was like so. It always happens. Because remember, even a couple years ago, remember like with her, that happened
Oh,
around
yeah.
me. That was kind of weird how that happened. Remember what happened with Glenn Close and Lady Gaga. Oh, it's two of them. It's two of them. It's two of them. And out of nowhere, Olivia Colman win, and we were like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Like this was kind of thing. And
Yeah.
then you're right, with Angela Bassett. Even this year, kind of with Demi Moore, Mikey Madison, both very deserving, of course, but Angela Bassett one still confuses me. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
she had that
Yeah.
one in the bag. I thought she had that in the bag too. Listen, Jamie Lee Curtis is a phenomenal actress. I admire her. I grew up watching her too, but that wasn't her
Yes.
best
Yes.
performance.
Yeah.
That wasn't her best
Yes.
performance. I think Jamie Lee had a better performance in
Yeah. No,
Halloween.
yeah. Yeah.
It just was like, wait a second. Because again, as someone who admired Jamie Lee Curtis and who like Freaky Friday, man, I cannot wait. For the first one is my shit, bro. I fucking love Freaky Friday. But that year, that year I was kind of like, no, I think Angela Bassett got robbed for that. I think that was like one of the best performances of the MCU in period. And Angela Bassett is a
Yeah.
phenomenal actress as well, as we all know. And I mean, she's one of the few people that has. She could be in a bad movie, but she's not bad in the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
Um, and I'll end this right. I'll for sure end it with this non spoiler. You're right. Haley Steinfeld to me, I think this is her best performance. 'Cause I think, like you said with Mike, I feel
Mike,
like this is her best. This is her most mature,
mature, but
role.
definitely mature work for mature role for sure. You know what I mean? She was in other films. You can kind of just look at her and be like, oh, that was great.
She's cute, yeah, cute, bubbly,
It's very cute. It doesn't really, it's not really like in like it doesn't feel like this is me as a grown up like actor or whatever it is.
Yep.
But this film,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, wow, she's really taking it there. She's really taking it there.
Yep.
From everything, even from, like that foul language she says. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
No,
bro,
even
we'll get in that in spoilers for
even,
sure. Because I was like, someone's
yeah,
clutching their pearls. Like, oh, excuse
yeah.
me.
Excuse me. No, but yeah, from everything, she was incredible. She was incredible, and I'm excited to see. I really want to see her in more roles. Just more roles. To be honest with you, more roles like this, where
I'm with you.
more roles that that are more mature. A little bit. And where she doesn't have to feel like this. I don't want her to feel like she's in the box. And
Yep.
this film was the first film where I'm like, okay, she does not feel like she's in the box at all. She feels
I
like
agree.
she is doing everything, like she wants, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she
I
killed
agree.
it.
I agree. So I thought she was really good, and this is the movie where I was again. I knew she was good in the True Grit remake, and that's also her first big role. But since then, I haven't
Yeah,
been like impressed with her. I mean, I think she's a good actress, but I haven't been like, oh, she's kind of picking these kind of just like these like Pitch Perfect 2 and Bumblebee. Like, yeah, they're very popcorn flick, but I don't see her like really like elevating as an actor. And I feel like
yeah,
with this, it was like Ryan gave her the opportunity to be like, hey, take this role. This is yours. Build it.
yeah,
Like, here you go. And I thought this again. I think this what you said too is like I'm looking forward to seeing what she does next. I think this was her role of like, oh wow, look, this is me as an actress too. I got this, and it was like wow. And you got
yeah.
good performance out of both, and her chemistry between her and Michael B. Jordan I thought was remarkable. I thought they had
Was
really good
great.
chemistry,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
believe like what their backstory of everything too. But all right. With that said, though, I'm trying to pull up a spoiler alert warning for our YouTube. A spoiler warning for our YouTube listeners, to our audience listeners too. I'm gonna give you guys. Also, guys, if you guys can go see Sinners, please go see Sinners and come back to this review. We're marking it now. All right, I'm trying to find a nice little. Yeah, we can use Adobe. Why not? Why not? Here we go. Here we go. All right, so all right, here we go, guys. And let me pull up Zoom again. And I'm trying to pull up Google Chrome. Kind of annoys me sometimes with like the full screen stuff. Okay, here we go. So again, in five,
Good.
4, 3, 2, and 1. You've been warned. Spoiler alert. I starting off with the ending. The ending. Okay, I can next with this actually. With this, the scene that really got me was the scene where they're talking when they first off when they fucking throw that guy outside and like who bit him and they threw him outside and I was
My goodness.
like who bit him and the whole thing with the garlic thing of like the like he goes, I fucking drank too much, my bad guys. It was like,
Okay, drink too much. My bad. The whole crowd in my theater was literally like laughing their
I
asses
know.
off
Us too.
that moment. Everybody was cracking up, you know. And then then Perlene being like, I don't want to eat it. Then like, and then I think Smoke taking out his gun and be like, you better eat that motherfucking
Oh yeah,
garlic.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. And then
Um,
he smacks Sammy in the face. Try to
yeah,
keep
his
you
man, his
alive.
name. Yeah, yeah. Preacher Boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that was a great scene. And then leading up to like, so sorry to cut you off. Sorry,
No, no, you're
no.
good. You're sorry. No, sorry. But no, I was gonna say that real quick. The scene that really got me, where I had goosebumps, I sat there, was the scene where so Cornbread just ate that other guy, because Cornbread's now been is a vampire now, and they're talking to Remick, and Remick was like trying to explain like all this stuff, and also with oh my gosh, what's the shop owner
You talking about
the guy the guy
uh,
um
I think it's Bao.
Bow, yes, yes, Bow, and it
Yeah,
was like, and you see him like he walks up and he's just like, and his wife is like, and Grace is like,
you
do you
not
see
see that?
Cornbread? Yeah, he goes, oh, he's hungry. And I was like, what? I was like, oh shit. And then you see, I love how Ryan did this with the VFX artist. He's talking, and then the eyes, it just switches to the vampire eyes, like so natural. I'm like, whoa. But they're talking. But the scene that really got me, where I was like, I was like in shock of how good this movie was. I'm still loving it in the first hour, but still though is when it's when Stack and Mary are enjoying, and you see Stack kind of like twirl her around in his arms, and
Mm.
for some reason, bro, that got me, and I was just like, damn, like I felt just like so like mesmerized by this movie even more. Because you see
Mm.
the wide shot too is like you see them walking up to like hey, and also the other vampire too is like they're walking up, but you see Stack and Mary kind of like dance together and you kind of like see have her in her arm kind of twirling around under the moonlight, and I said that got me. I don't know why, but it got me, and I was like, oh shit! It was that little thing. I was like, oh my god, but I don't know. So
Yeah.
now we're in spoiler, but what do you want to bring up first in terms of spoiler
I mean,
topics?
in terms of spoiler, man, I would say, I mean, there's a lot of moments, and I'm gonna say one that I definitely know stood out to me. There are two of my favorite, you
What you got?
know, scenes here. Let me make sure that I get the right one. And sorry, give me a second. Um, um, it's the when they're performing "I Lied to You." You remember "I
Oh my
Lied to You"?
god, the montage,
That scene,
oh
that
my god,
sequence,
the oneer.
itself,
Oh
that
my
oneer,
god, bro, the
that was
oneer.
basically a music that was one of the best musical sequences I've ever seen in my life. Like
Oh,
that
the
was the
oneer.
best musical sequence I've ever seen in my life because they dive into so much culture, and so much. history with music
Hmm.
overall from like different like ethnic groups, from backgrounds or whatever it is, from like from everything,
Hmm.
and it was beautiful. It was beautifully done. And the fact that the aspect ratio changes too as well,
Yes,
you know,
tell him,
ah,
Moses,
man,
tell him.
it was I'm gonna tell you right now, I almost flew to heaven.
Again in this movie.
No, but no. To be for real, it really is one of the most immersive scenes that I ever seen because Country Boy, that's his character, played by Miles. His performance in here really, really takes you to, he takes performing on screen to a whole new level. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? He really, really does. And I love how like the music changes, tempos and everything like that, based on, you know,
Yeah.
the type of style of music it is, from whatever,
Hmm.
and I like how inviting it all kind of feels, and
Yeah.
everything kind of how everything kind of comes together, to what's her name? It's that she's the Asian
Oh, Grace.
actress, Grace. I
Yeah.
like how Grace kind of goes to like her husband
Yeah, the
and everything
winner.
like that, and like, kind of offers like her hand to like dance, and then they go in the middle, and then you can
Hmm.
Stack and Mary, in the background, kind of dancing together too as well, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and when Miles' character, when Miles' character, hits his note, and the whole roof, like gets on fire, like it's amazing. It's
I know, bro.
No, no,
Oh my God.
it's an amazing. It's very it's very immersive, and it's visually, it's visually astonishing overall. I gotta say, man, it's great. I saw the movie twice. I know I'm gonna go see it again, but
Hell yeah,
that
you
is
are.
my favorite scene. That is one of my favorite scene in the past decade, I would say.
Yeah.
And there's another scene, of course, but this is another scene that just popped into my head, but it's the Jack O'Connell's character when he's like performing outside with all the van.
Oh yeah.
I laughed, and I was kind of like, tapping my feet by the beat of it all. And hey man, I ain't gonna lie, the song was fire.
The little Irish jig, the Irish step dancing. Yeah.
Irish jig, it was fire, man. It was a good time, and yeah, man. He definitely took being a villain to a whole new level,
Yeah.
you know. And I never seen a villain, deciding to also, be part of the music too as well, or whatever, be part of the musical element, of a film like this. So it was really, really great. And yeah, yeah. There's another one that's in the top of my head, but it was great. It was a beautiful, beautiful movie. And also the foul language. I see this on social media. On social media, people are going crazy about how it's funny because this movie doesn't have any like any nude scenes at all.
It's
You
horny.
know,
It's a very horny
it,
movie.
yes, that's what
Very
it
horny.
is.
Very, very, very teethy and very horny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, man, I know you are, Ryan Coogler. I know you are, man. I'm not,
You're a
it's like,
family man. No, I'm kidding.
it's funny. But yeah, from all of these things that Haley is saying, to even you know uh to Annie's character, what she says to as well. It's like, damn, what is going on in this movie? Even from freaking, Preacher Boy. I'm like, Preacher Boy, what are you saying?
I want a little taste. I want a little taste. I was like, whoa. I
He's
say,
like,
man, like, sir, you're a
I
man
just
of
want to
God.
taste you. He's,
You're a man of God.
like, he's like, you're beautiful. I just want to taste
I
you.
just want to taste. And he goes, like, I haven't washed up yet. He goes, I just want to taste you. I said, damn, bro. I walked here. And he goes, I don't care.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. But man, like the music definitely made me emotional for sure, and everything. This movie has so much layers, man. It's
So much layers.
crazy, But those are the moments that stood out. I know there's going to be some. I love the introduction to, I'm forgetting her name already. To Grace, and how the music is kind of like incorporated as well, the composed music. I really love that sequence.
Oh, yeah.
From basically from Bo telling her daughter to go get your to go get Grace. And basically like us following her to the other store and everything like that. That was really beautiful. I thought that was really amazing. It was that little oneer shot.
Little
And
Lisa. Yeah, little Lisa.
yeah. Yeah, it was great. I'm hearing. What do you think, man? I want to know your thoughts because for me, there was sort of like this there's sort of like this like there's like this thing online. People are saying like, hey, like, would you have done what Grace did,
Ooh.
or would you have not?
Okay.
For me,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle because
Yeah.
now that I think of it, bro, now that I think of like Grace's daughter, she doesn't have freaking a mother or daddy no more. You know what I mean? That's very sad. That's like such like that's like damn. You know what I mean? That's like very, very sad. Because I'm just like it's like I had a kid and I knew that this dude is talking about like, trying to go after like my kid and everything like that.
Convert my kid to a
Like,
vampire.
yeah.
And
I'll be like,
she'll be a
no, you
kid
know what I
forever.
mean?
And she'll be a kid
Yeah.
forever. Think about it. She'll be a
She's
kid forever.
she's gonna be a kid forever too as well, but also it's like that's my kid, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That's my kid. Like what do you expect me to do? You know?
Dude,
Like,
I
what do
don't
you expect
know.
me to do? I get the fact that people are talking about how like maybe just waiting until the morning comes and everything. I get that too as well. But when somebody tells you all of these things and maybe maybe the morning comes, right? Or whatever. What makes you think that he won't go, to Grace's daughter before the morning comes,
He'll find
right?
her. He'll find
What
her.
makes you think that? You'll find her. Like, what makes you? He's a vampire, like he can fly. I mean, you saw it in the movie. He
Yeah.
can fly. You know what I mean? He flew. And what makes you think he won't do that? So
Exactly.
it's like all these things, man. All these things, it makes you think. Like, yeah, I would lean more towards like trying to like save my kids. I feel like,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm with you,
But
man.
I get some people might deny that. I get some people might deny that.
Do you know what people are comparing it to? They're comparing it to the Star Lord hitting Thanos in the face moment.
Yeah,
Like, you saw that? Yeah. That's what it
yeah, there
was.
are people are, yeah, people are, but yeah, man, it's very fascinating. But I would definitely be the person to be like, you know what, I want to save my daughter, and everything like that because, it's my kid and it's the only kid I have or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is. My husband is gone,
Mm-hmm.
now it's like what else will I have,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm gone, who's going to be here to protect her?
Yeah.
Even if I die, I don't want her to, like die or whatever it is, or live forever as a little kid.
I'm with you, man. I'm torn about it too. I'm torn about it too
Hey,
because
if you're a different opinion, dude.
Actually, I'm with you because what's funny, actually when you asked me, I was like, wait, that's great. No, I feel like great. First off, great question by the way, because I was like, I'm torn because you're right, and that scene, I'm telling you, bro. I don't know about you. My jaw was on the floor the entire scene because when she goes, "Come on in, motherfuckers," and I was like, and then again we go the aspect ratio changed to 1:43.
Yeah,
Bro, my jaw was on the floor, and that scene is just berserk when they open the doors and they're getting stabbed, shooting, blah blah blah. I was just like, oh my god! I'm telling you, that's the thing. My jaw was on the floor like this. I'm like, what are we watching right now? I was like,
yeah,
I was in shock. I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh my god. But I thought it was so, in a way, disturbing because when she kills Bo and they're both on fire, that was disturbing. I felt disturbed.
That was fucked. That was fucked.
Right. And Ryan goes back a couple times to that shot, and I was like, we're going back.
I was like, okay, like, damn, like I feel so bad. I don't know, but then it was crazy. It was crazy.
They burned together. It was a
good shot, though. It was a great shot.
A great shot. And also in 1:43 70 moment. That shot was in 1:43, and I was like, oh my god, it's tough. It's tough, man, because because again, as the audience, we knew where she was like, we gotta get out of here. He goes, okay, I'll grab the car. And everyone was like, no, bro, no. Like, don't get the car, man. Like, no, like.
I would. He should have stayed inside. He should have stayed inside.
I was like, bro.
But he should have stayed inside. He should have stayed inside and, I don't know, maybe think of another plan.
Something.
Okay. Think of something.
Speaking of which, okay, answer me this. This is, I guess, one of when I saw it again, second time, I was kind of confused about this. Explain to me this. When Mary, okay, first off, too, I kind of wish they didn't reveal Mary becoming a vampire in the trailers. I kind of wish it was more of a secret, of a reveal in the movie. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, like, but like, I feel like, I won't say that movie, but I've seen 2 WB movies this year. One of those movies that revealed some things in the trailers where I was like, what are you doing? No. I kind of wish, because the first trailer for this movie I thought was phenomenal because you didn't know shit. And then when you see in the second trailer, you see when she goes, we're going to kill everyone, last one of y'all. And I said, no. I'm like, oh, that would have been a cool surprise to see that in the movie. Because I thought in the first teaser is so cut brilliantly because I thought it was like the scene where he goes, take care, I will. Like, I thought it was like when the brother goes away and comes back a vampire in the first teaser. Oh. That's what that vibe I got in the first trailer. I was like, oh, they split up, and then the vampires get him. He comes back as a vampire. Like, that's what I thought the movie was going to be at first. The first trailer, then you see the trailer until you see all them in the juke joint all together. Like, okay, now I get it. But I kind of wish that we didn't see the Mary reveal in the trailer. But again, I still love the scene, whatever. But okay, so when Stack gets turned, he's in that room, he runs out, but then you see later on he has to wait for permission to get back into the juke joint, but he was already in the juke joint.
Wait, what do you mean?
So remember the vampire lore is like you need permission, you need a permission to come in, right?
Yeah.
But Stack was already in the juke joint when he was turned.
Yeah, when it was turned, he was inside. He was locked in that room. Remember?
And then he walked out. And then he got
out.
Then
he slammed the door. Then he walked out. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Then he walked out and he ran out and everything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, he ran out the door and then he ran out the door to go go out to go get married to as well. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Then he want to go meet her, and then that's when we kind of last saw him for a couple like minutes and everything like that, and
okay,
and that's pretty much it, was that where you're like, what are you trying to?
Sorry. So my question is, since he was already in the juke joint as a vampire, Why did he need permission to come back in? That's my
I mean,
question.
he didn't need permission to come back in. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
he knew that he would probably like get killed
Okay.
if
If he walked
you
by
know, because
himself.
like
Okay. See. Okay. I see.
if he walked by himself, you
Okay.
know
That
what I
makes
mean? Because
sense.
like they had already like built all their weapons and everything like that,
Yeah.
ready to go, just like from
They would have.
right,
Yeah.
different that we see. Like they're ready to like like kill anybody who who's already turned into a vampire and
Gotcha.
everything.
Okay. That makes
So
sense.
yeah, yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense. Okay.
Um, yeah, but speaking about Mary and everything, I do get your point. I wish they should have like held it off until held her off and not revealed her that she was a vampire.
Yep.
Until like the end. But I do get like the
I do.
selling aspect of trying to sell the movie.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I
Because
get that too.
people went crazy about hey, Haley Steinfeld being a vampire in a movie.
Yep.
You know what I mean? People went crazy about that. So
Good
so so
point.
I get that. For me as an audience member, I would be like, damn, you should have saved that.
Okay.
Should
Yeah.
save it. But yeah. But yeah,
Um.
man.
The thing I really loved, and this is why I said it was kind of like Brian De Palma a little bit. I loved the fact that they worked for Capone. I loved that angle to their
Oh yeah,
characters. I thought that
yeah.
was so badass. He goes, "Yeah, we're Chicago. We're working for Capone." I'm like, "That's awesome!" Like, I love that they kind of tied in real life, like gangster stuff into the movie. Where I was like, "Oh man,
That's what
these
I
two
mean. I mean,
Capone."
yeah, that's crazy. That's
I love
crazy.
that. I
That was
love
crazy.
that.
I mean, and also like by the way, just I mean like just by the way they walk, by the way it's like
Hmm.
stack and walk and everything like that, but the way they carry themselves, they're
Hmm.
very gangsters. Like
I loved
like
it.
from the T, and
Yep.
everything like that. But mostly, I would say, mostly Smoke comes off like he does business. He's not here to play around, kid around,
Hmm.
because he also lost like in the story he lost his daughter.
Yep.
You know, with Annie and everything, and that's very heartbroken, and that's
Yep.
very like heart wrenching and everything. So, but it's a great like teaser to know that they work with him,
I
and
love that.
and I even wish that I hope when Ryan gets his like freaking rights back that maybe create a mini series or something like that. Where we go back
Oh my god.
and
Yes,
and
bro.
we
Yes.
visit and we revisit that sort of like time. It doesn't have to be with Michael B. Jordan, but create another story. You know what I mean,
Oh,
or whatever it is, where
bro.
we see that aspect of their lives and everything like that. And maybe even like follow maybe when he gets his rights back, maybe even follow the story that takes place in like the 80s or 90s or whatever.
With
At the end
Sammy.
credits, we followed Sammy. You know, follow Sammy and Michael B. Jordan and Haley Stanford's character.
Did well, first all, you read my mind. I would love a prequel origin of like their time in Chicago. Again, 7 years is a long
That would be
time.
great. 70s is
I
a long time. 70s is a
I
long
would have
time.
I would have loved that. Also, again, being from Chicago, I'm a little biased, but
Yeah.
that would be so cool to see them like in Chicago, kind of like working with Capone. Like, imagine my thing is kind of like they were like the right hand man for Capone. Like, I would go crazy for that. That would have been awesome. Um,
That would be crazy. That would be really, really crazy. That would be.
um, I forgot
Yeah.
my train of thought. But yeah, no, also, oh yeah, that's right. Did you laugh when Remy goes Seme? That cracked me up whenever he did that. I mean, for you, Seme. Yeah. That
My
cracked me.
goodness.
He did it twice, and I laughed. He was like Seme because then one time he
It
got
almost sounds like that one. Have you seen the iCarly?
Oh yeah, yes.
Give me.
Seme.
That's what it sounds like. And I'm like, what the hell? You know?
Because the second
And
he flies up into like the second story of the juke joint and goes Seme. It was so, like Beetlejuice in a way. It was like it was, I don't know. It,
oh
was really,
my
it
god,
caught me
man.
off guard. That's kind of funny
Yeah.
actually.
But
Um,
dude, like,
uh,
Jack Connor's character, him being a vampire, like he got scarier. You know, once when he got hit with the guitar,
Oh, I
and
know that.
my goodness, bro, I was like, oh hell
Oh
no,
no. Oh,
you
I
know,
love.
this guy got to go.
And I
You
thought
know,
the VFX on him looked great.
um, yeah, no, they did. You know, and you know, this is the first movie that that I- that I knew that Ludwig Göransson was literally like making sure that he was able to tie in and tie things in the story. Do you know that one scene where Annie's kind of like, you know, that shot was also really fucking scary, by the
Oh
way.
no, but the lightning too. Ooh.
Yeah, the lightning too as well. Oh my goodness, scary as hell. You know, but yeah, going back, yeah, whoa, dude, I'm
See, bro, I told you, bro. That
shit.
was it's trippy, bro. It was a GIF. It was a GIF. I was like, oh
Shit
shit.
was trippy as shit. Yeah, trippy as hell. You know, yeah, yeah.
That yeah, the drool, bro, the drool scene when Mary does it does it to stack. People in the theater were like, no.
Bro, I hear so much people on like social media talking about how some people are like, oh, some people are like, you know, are like, oh, like how they like would appreciate that or whatever it is, and some people are like, no, I don't like that. But it's crazy how like we talked about how horny the movie is, you know, and everything like that, and that's kind of part of it too as well. And it's like, and it's
I know, bro. I know. Trust me, man. And I know. Again,
I'm
listen.
like,
I know it's a
nah,
kink for some
man.
people. I know it's a kink
That,
for some
so some people,
people.
I'm me, man. I'm like, nah, dude, nah, don't
You
do
wash your
that.
mouth.
Don't do that.
uh,
Man.
yeah,
But
his mouth was so open too when he was like, "You want some of this?" And he was like, his mouth opened so wide. I was like, "Bro, what? Oh, hold on now."
oh, close your goddamn mouth. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
man. Close your mouth.
Oh, man. That was crazy. That was crazy.
uh,
But this sequence though, when they're playing the guitar outside, I thought when they're playing Go Lottie Do
oh
Go
yeah,
Go Lottie Go, I thought it was actually really cool,
it
you
was a
know.
beautiful song.
That was a really really beautiful song. It was. It was. It's also in the soundtrack
Yeah,
too as well, which I heard it. I've been listening to it a few times, you know. And like I said, she's a really good singer. Her name is Lola, the actress. And yeah, you know, she did an incredible job. All three of them did an incredible job, but they knew how to play those guitars. They know how to play those guitars for sure. And is that a goddamn? Is she playing on a violin?
it looks like it.
I think it's a violin, man.
When I saw it again, I was like, "Is that a violin?" I think you're right.
It's a violin, bro.
Um,
That's
I
crazy.
I love their intro scene a lot too because with the Native Americans, I
Oh my
like
goodness!
the
Speaking
one
about
four
that
three.
scene, man.
Yeah,
Speaking
and the
about that scene,
birds and the vultures, the three vultures around the house too. I was like,
dude.
oh.
That shot
Mm-hmm.
was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody online said, you know, Jack O'Connor's character. His name is I think his name is Remick. I think
Remick.
this is his like name what is
Remick.
it?
Yeah, you're right. Remick.
Yeah, Remick.
Remick.
The way he kind of like falls down.
Yeah.
You know, somebody said online that he kind of feels like like an angel falling down from
Yes.
like heaven and
Yes.
everything like that. And I thought, wow, that
Yes.
definitely could be true and everything. You know, because in a very like you know spiritual and very crazy way. You know, and and yeah, the way we got introduced to him and everything, and the fact that the Native Americans were like chasing after him, you
Yeah.
know,
They warned him.
and just the shot was crazy, but also the warning. They said it once, not
Yeah.
twice, not three times. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like LeBron James right now, and like and wanted to win trophies in Miami, not once, not two, not three. Nah, I'm kidding. Sorry. sorry.
No,
You know,
you see the thing on, on TikTok too, where it was like, "Damn, bro, he sucked the races out of them."
wait, what did he say? What?
Someone on TikTok was like, "Damn, Jerry O'Connell is one of love, man. He fucking sucked the racism out of those two characters."
Oh, for real, because they're, part of the fucking
Fucking
Ku Klux
clan.
Klan and everything like
Yeah.
that. So that's even crazier. And then for some reason, freaking, Lola's character and the other guy's character, they just become this like, like, oh, we're all about love and
I
compassion and everything like that. And it's like, what the hell? But the Americans, I wish, man, yeah, you know, I, I do wish there was like like a sequel or a prequel of us following them or something like
yeah,
that.
I'm with you.
Following them chasing after like vampires, or something like that. That'd be really, really cool. You know, but yeah, they did want to be like, "Damn, are you sure? Are you sure you don't have anybody in here?"
Yeah, they warned
Okay.
they warned him. He goes, "He's not what he seems. He's not what he seems."
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I was like, "Oh shit!" Is when Remick tells Smoke, he was like. He goes, oh no, he goes, no, I think, no, was it Remick or was it Stack or Stack when he was like,
Which one? The vampire. The one who got turned into a vampire was Stack.
so Stack, yeah,
Smoke
Stack.
was the one that didn't get turned into a
Yeah.
vampire.
So Stack was like, "This isn't a juke joint; it's a fucking slaughterhouse." And then you see, you're like, "Oh yeah, he's the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan," and I love the scene that line dialogue was so I think from Remick's character. He goes, "Yeah, after we're done here, we're gonna fucking suck no, what do you, no, he calls him calls him a bigot. He goes, yeah, we're gonna see that fucking bigot next too." I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Oh shit." He was
Yeah,
like,
man. I mean,
I
yeah,
was like,
dude. I
"Oh
mean,
fuck."
dude, it was crazy. I mean, Remick was like, "I'm gonna go after everybody," because, like, I mean, uh, because, like, I mean, I think those two characters, I think Remick's character has said that, that they were nephews to
The
the
Grand
guy
Wizard, yeah.
the grand, what's his name?
Yeah, I think the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan,
The,
yeah.
yeah, the Grand Wizard or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. And to know that, it's like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
And he tells them
but
too, he's like, "Yeah, they're here to slaughter you." And it was like, and then they told him too, and it was like, "Oh shit!" And then as when Stack told Smoke, he was just like, "Yeah, like we're never free, whatever." And it was just like that whole scene was just brilliant because it was the back and forth, back and
yeah,
forth,
no, it
back and
is, it
forth,
is.
back
You know
and
what I
forth.
mean? And then it's crazy how like Smoke kind of waits for them to come. You know, and
Yes.
yeah, he's like, oh shit,
Okay.
okay,
Yes. Let's get into that
yeah,
now. That
because
scene was
yeah, remember
crazy.
that scene was fucked, and then dude, the music, how it was
Yeah.
with the bullets and everything like that in the freaking screen in that 4:3 aspect ratio. I was like,
Oh my
dude,
god,
that
bro.
was nuts.
I know.
That was nuts.
That, that's why I wanted this strip. I wanted the strip with that scene. I wanted that with that one right there. There it is. Yeah, there. I wanted that scene with him with the two 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 two.
That
Like
was crazy. Da-da-da-da,
yeah,
da-da-da,
that
I
score
was
was
like, what the hell?
absurd. But to your point too, that was the perfect use of the 143. Like that was just
Yeah,
like
no, it was.
oh
Yeah,
chef's kiss.
yeah. I could talk about this movie all day, but I
I
definitely
know.
know that, you know, I need to wake up in the morning tomorrow to go to work. But I would say last thing before we move on. I don't know if
Yes,
you
sir.
got more to talk because I could talk about it forever.
I got
But
one more thing too, but you first. Go ahead.
but no, but yeah. I was gonna say, one of the last things, of this movie, that I really, really appreciated you know, is I mean, overall, it's just like, like is like the music, the music. the music and how it ties so
Hmm.
closely with the visuals and everything like that, and how big it really felt, and I really, really appreciated, like I really appreciated those two elements that really like helped like elevate the whole entire story, and everything. And it's a really, really great film. And I know it's definitely the top, it's definitely, the best film in 2025 right now. We all know that.
Hmm.
I hope it stays in the top 10 of best 2025 films all the way until the end of the year,
Hmm.
you know. And then I hope that it gets awards and acclaims and all these things all the way until, the Academy Awards happen, you
Yep.
know. And yeah, I'm excited for this movie. I think it's the same. It's the same time. I think this movie came out the same time that Dune Part Two came out, right?
Yeah, it was both were spring of both were spring. Yeah, and I
Spring in
think
April, right? It was in April.
actually Dune was March. Dune was the first week
Okay.
of March. But it's funny
Yeah.
though, Sinners was originally planned
For
for
March.
March, and then they swapped it with Mickey 17.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Probably a good thing too.
Yeah. No. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Probably a good thing too as well. Yeah. But yeah, man, great film. Great film overall. Like 1,000 out of 10 for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. Yeah. I'll definitely give it a D plus.
Oh my god. I'll read.
Not
I'll
on
read.
me.
Could you imagine after this all this praise, spoiler talk, and we're like, I mean, it's all right. 2 out of 10.
It's all right. Viewers out there, you don't have to see it.
Nah.
You know.
Um.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. What was your rating again? What was your rating?
I said 1,000 out of 10.
Nah, dude. It's
Yeah.
It's the one thing I'll add real quick, and then we'll move on. Then we'll close up the show. First off, the scene at the chat was so funny. Is the scene where he's like, "You shot me in the ass," and the scene where like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 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 You shot me. Yes. Well, you stealing my shit. You know what I mean? And everything like that. And then he goes back to the freaking store. He's like, hey, can we make sure that's cleaned up? Can we get them cleaned up and everything? And then Grace's husband is like, yeah, we can get that cleaned up.
the money,
He
and
takes
then,
the money.
and then he shoots the guy
Yeah.
in the kneecap too because can't be thinking you had tried to get the jump on all the smokestack twins. He shot the guy in the kneecap too.
Can't get the jump in the smoke back twins. You know what I mean?
um,
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Then I'll also, before we go to, also read Nick's quick review too. But for our audience listeners, both our viewers on YouTube and also our audience listeners at home, this is your last week to go see it in 70 millimeter IMAX. And I think 70 millimeter film you can see a bit longer. I want to say, and if you want to see it in 70 millimeter, not IMAX, Vista Theater, California, Alamo, Brooklyn, Village East Cinemas, all in New York. I don't know where Grand Lake and the Britannia Theater is, but that's 70 millimeter how they shot, Ben-Hur, Hateful Eight, like Coogler used the same kind of cameras they used for like Ben-Hur and Hateful Eight. But if
Yeah.
you want to see it in 1:4:3 IMAX, both laser or film, I think you have a bit more options in terms of that. But not an option, but like you have 1 week left, and that is there's only 10 theaters left in the world. AMC Lincoln Square in New York, City Walk AMC Universal where Moses saw it, Regal Irvine in Irvine, California, AMC Metro 16 San Fran, IMAX Indiana State Museum, Indiana, where me and Nick saw it, Harkins AZ Mills here in Tempe, Arizona, Auto Nation IMAX Museum in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Cinemark Dallas IMAX in Dallas, Cineplex Vaughan, Ontario, which is in Canada, and the BFI IMAX, which I actually went to when I was in London, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
When I saw the second time, I met people in line that drove here from Utah, Nevada, New Mexico.
Wow.
People
Wow.
drove, bro, to see this in this way. People drove all
Wow.
this way. So you have 1 week left. You can see it this weekend if you can. Please do, because come next Thursday, Thunderbolts will have all the IMAX screens for the summer. So you only have one last week left to see it in 70 millimeter IMAX. Mo saw it in IMAX 70mm. So did me and Nick. I think this is your theater, right? This is the one at City Walk.
Yep.
There it
Yep.
is. Um,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
actually about the costumes there too. Guys, you really do not want to miss this movie in general. But if you can see it in IMAX 70mm, it is the best way to see it. You will be blown away by this, guys. Please go out of the way. It's worth every penny. And what is one thing I also want to show too? But yeah, that's it. So please, 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 please see this movie. Go support original filmmaking. We need this more than ever. Again, but IMAX 70mm. We joke about all the time. But this is the definition of IMAX and climax. Like this is what we talk about, IMAX and climax. This is it. This is it, guys. And then one thing I want to add it too, man. This movie is also Shamik Moore's nightmare. Because
Stop it right there.
I'm kidding. We're all Shamik Moore fans, but all over Twitter, it's so funny. Like all the jokes, Nick made a joke in group chat too.
Yeah.
But
Did you hear about how it's also what's his name?
Oh, Josh Allen, her fiance. Hey, baby, how was the movie? Yeah, it was fun.
Hey, but he did comment on it. I read it online somewhere where I read it on Twitter and everything like that. He actually enjoyed the movie, and everything. So that's good to hear that he enjoyed the movie. Yeah, he's supportive.
He was being supportive. He was being being supportive.
I'm pretty sure there's some moments in the movie where he might have been like.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
What do you really do there? Huh? No, okay.
Would she go again? This is it. Also too. Someone on TikTok again. We're still on a spoiler conversation. Someone on TikTok was like, "Damn, bro, I feel bad the most for Cornbread because he was promised some fire ass neck on the way home."
Oh my god! Oh yeah, yeah, I feel bad.
My god! And then
and then somebody said about like Perlene, about like how his husband is like like waiting for her to come back home, and as as freaking preacher boy is doing the dirty.
What's the I'll close the last thing I'll say. What's the line she says? Like, "Oh, you can rob banks and trains, but not this pussy." I was like, "Oh my god."
That's he.
I was like, "Oh my lord!"
So you can rob banks, trains, but you cannot steal this, pussy for the night. I'm like, my goodness. God.
I was like, sinned.
I was like, whoa. Sin right there.
Sin.
Like, that's a sin.
But I really do hope we see more Ryan Coogler, IMAX, and original films from him. I know we're hyped for Black Panther, but I'm giving Sinners. It's so close from a 10 for me, but I had a few things, just a few nitpicks here and there. I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10. A few nitpicks here and there, but it is as close as you get as perfect movies you can get for us at least. So yeah, I'm giving 9.5 out of 10 for Sinners. And before we go, I'm going to read Nick's reviews real quick. So for Sinners from Nick, our very own Nick Johnson. Sinners is an absolute masterpiece of a film. Breathtaking, horrific, in more ways than just one. Give it a 9. And before I forget, too, actually, his review for Accountant 2. Accountant 2 is a solid sequel. Different tone that coincides with the change in dynamics between Ben Affleck and John Bernthal's characters, but I felt it worked well for the film. Gavin O'Connor has not missed a beat and gave it 7.5 for the Accountant 2. So that is definitely... I think we're all on the same page with these movies, which is kind of another week. Okay, instead of doing our 1-on-1s of the week, so we get out of here, real quick. So 5 Ryan Coogler movies. How would you rank them?
It's a very good question. Oh man, I would definitely rank Black Panther.
Okay.
And then and Sinners, bro. Not gonna lie. Like then Sinners. Maybe things might change along the line, but Sinners and then Creed, no, actually Fruitvale.
Okay.
And then and on it forever, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's how I rank them. Yeah.
And
But
mind
I
you,
enjoy all of them.
exactly.
Yeah,
You read my mind.
yeah,
You read my mind. It's literally like these are all great movies. Not like, oh, this one sucks. It's like, no, these are
yeah,
all good movies
yeah.
that Nick would give it all a D plus. I'm kidding, Nick. I'm kidding. We love you, Nick. Please watch our Matthew Vaughn, our Batman tier list and our Matthew Vaughn tier
Yeah,
list. You'll
yeah,
appreciate it,
yeah.
that episode. Go back in the archive for that one. So I would go, okay, and from least favorite to favorite, I'd go least favorite. Selected Wakanda Forever. Uh, Wakanda Forever, Fruitvale, Black Panther, Sinners, and then Creed is my favorite because that's my personal connection to it. But again,
Yeah.
these are all like 8s, 9s. I mean, on like Letterboxd or IMDb. These are all just like hit after hit after hit after hit, and they're so enjoyable. So yeah, Wakanda Forever, Fruitvale, Black Panther, Creed, and then Sinners and Creed. So yeah,
Yeah.
those are,
Yeah.
those are my rankings. Those are our rankings. Those are Moses' rankings, my rankings.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great review, man. Great review.
Oh
Yeah.
man! All right, my friend.
Great show. Great
show,
show.
man. Well, this was when was the last time it was you and I together, man? This has been like a long time in the making, man. This is like the Ice Age, man. This is kind of like historic. Like, this is a historic episode. Just you and I. Where can the lovely audience find you at home on the socials?
Man, you number one audience, please. You can always find me here at the Genre of Your Life podcast, as always. And of course, you can always find me on Instagram at Moses Lawi _. And you can also find me at Moses, directed by MosesLawi.com, which is my website. You can see some of my work there too as well. But of course, like I said before in the beginning, you can always find me here with the amazing Doug, the amazing Nick, at the Genre of Your Life podcast, of course.
And of course, you can find me on Instagram.
Where can they find you, Doug? Where can they find you?
Where they can find me, man? They can find me. First off, they can find me here with one of my best friends in the world, Moses Law, and of course, my best friend, Nick Johnson. But again, always going to be here. And of course, you can find me on Instagram at The Young Jones. Of course, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, at Midway Avenue Productions. Again, go to our link tree. Please support our amazing, what Nick and Moses have done in their career so far. You can find both their articles. You can find Moses' amazing website, guys. It's so good. Please give him some love and some support. All our links are down there. You can find Gold. You can find Who Are You, which is both Nick and Moses' short films. All our stuff is down there too. But again, please, and you can find Nick at Ahmad Johnson 98 on Instagram. Of course, you can find him here with us every week on the Genre Life podcast. We hope you guys had a very sinful week. I'm kidding. I'm brand. No, I'm kidding. We really appreciate you guys joining in this week. This was a fun episode to do. You know, again, as someone, I think back to why we fell in love with movies. And again, I'm grateful for Ryan Coogler for that. I got the bond with Moses right here over him, and when we were in film school. And yeah, guys, just go support the original filmmaking like Sinners. Go to the movies, guys, please. The box office needs us more than ever. We're always going to push you in the right direction for movies no matter what. But thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. Hope you enjoyed our spoiler-fill and non-spoiler review of Sinners, of course, Accountant 2. And, of course, our friends will see you guys at the movies.